Sir, the Chief Minister designate and the Ministers designate are present to take the oaths of office and secrecy. I request your permission to present them. The Chief Minister designate shall now be invited to the dais to take the oaths of the office and of secrecy as Chief Minister for the state of Assam. Shri Himanta Biswa Sarma, Chief Minister designate. You may be pleased, sir, to administer the oath of office and the oath of secrecy to the Chief Minister designate as invited and presented.
মই শ্ৰী হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শৰ্মা ঈশ্বৰৰ নামত শপত লওঁ যে বিধিৰ দ্বাৰা স্থাপিত ভাৰতৰ সংবিধানৰ প্ৰতি মই প্ৰকৃত বিশ্বাস আৰু আনুগত্য পোষণ কৰিম। মই ভাৰতৰ সাৰ্বভৌমত্ব আৰু অখণ্ডতা অক্ষুণ্ণ ৰাখিম। মই অসমৰ মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ কৰ্তব্য বিশ্বস্ততাৰে আৰু শুদ্ধ অন্তঃকৰণেৰে সম্পাদন কৰিম আৰু মই ভয় বা পক্ষপাত অনুৰাগ বা বিদ্বেষ নোহোৱাকৈ সংবিধান আৰু আইন অনুসাৰে সকলো শ্ৰেণীৰ লোকৰ প্ৰতি ন্যায় আচৰণ কৰিম। মই শ্ৰী হিমন্ত বিশ্ব শৰ্মা ঈশ্বৰৰ নামত শপত লওঁ যে মই অসমৰ মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ কৰ্তব্যৰ যথাযথ সম্পাদনৰ বাবে আৱশ্যক হোৱাৰ বাহিৰে মই এনে বিষয় যি অসমৰ মুখ্যমন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ বিবেচনাৰ বাবে অনা হ'ব বা মোৰ জ্ঞাত হ'ব তেনে বিষয় মই কোনো ব্যক্তি বা ব্যক্তিসকলৰ ওচৰত প্ৰত্যক্ষ বা পৰোক্ষভাৱে অৱগত বা প্ৰকাশ নকৰিম।
Sir, the ministers designate are present to take the oaths of office and secrecy. I request your permission to present them. The ministers designate shall now be invited to the dais one by one to take the oaths of the office and of secrecy as Minister for the state of Assam. You may be pleased, sir, to administer the oath of office and the oath of secrecy to the ministers designate as invited and presented one by one. Shri Rameshwar Teli, Minister designate.
মই ৰামেশ্বৰ তেলী ঈশ্বৰৰ নামত শপত লওঁ যে বিধিৰ দ্বাৰা স্থাপিত ভাৰতৰ সংবিধানৰ প্ৰতি মই প্ৰকৃত বিশ্বাস আৰু অনুগত্য পোষণ কৰিম। মই ভাৰতৰ সাৰ্বভৌমত্ব আৰু অখণ্ডতা অক্ষুণ্ণ ৰাখিম। মই অসমৰ এগৰাকী মন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ কৰ্তব্য বিশ্বস্ততাৰে আৰু শুদ্ধ অন্তঃকৰণেৰে সম্পাদন কৰিম আৰু মই ভয় বা পক্ষপাত অনুৰাগ বা বিখেদ নোহোৱাকৈ সংবিধানৰ আৰু আইন অনুসাৰে সকলো শ্ৰেণীৰ লোকৰ প্ৰতি ন্যায় আচৰণ কৰিম। মই ৰামেশ্বৰ তেলী ঈশ্বৰৰ নামত শপত লওঁ যে অসমৰ এগৰাকী মন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ কৰ্তব্যৰ যথাযথ সম্পাদনৰ বাবে আৱশ্যক হোৱাৰ বাহিৰে মই এনে বিষয় যি অসমৰ এগৰাকী মন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ বিবেচনাৰ বাবে অনা হ'ব বা মোৰ জ্ঞাত হ'ব তেনে বিষয় মই কোনো ব্যক্তি বা ব্যক্তিসমূহৰ ওপৰত প্ৰত্যক্ষ বা পৰোক্ষভাৱে অৱগত বা প্ৰকাশ নকৰিম।
बहुत बधाई आपको। Shri Atul Bora, Minister Designate.
মই শ্ৰী অতুল বৰাই ঈশ্বৰৰ শপত লওঁ যে বিধিৰ দ্বাৰা স্থাপিত ভাৰতৰ সংবিধানৰ প্ৰতি মই প্ৰকৃত বিশ্বাস আৰু আনুগত্য পোষণ কৰিম। মই ভাৰতৰ সাৰ্বভৌমত্ব আৰু অখণ্ডতা অক্ষুণ্ণ ৰাখিম। মই অসমৰ এগৰাকী মন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ কৰ্তব্য বিশ্বস্ততাৰে আৰু শুদ্ধ অন্তঃকৰণেৰে সম্পাদন কৰিম আৰু মই ভয় বা পক্ষপাত অনুৰাগ বা বিদ্বেষ নোহোৱাকৈ সংবিধান আৰু আইন অনুসৰি সকলো শ্ৰেণীৰ লোকৰ প্ৰতি ন্যায় আচৰণ কৰিম। মই শ্ৰী অতুল বৰাই ঈশ্বৰৰ নামত শপত লওঁ যে অসমৰ এগৰাকী মন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ কৰ্তব্যৰ যথাযথ সম্পাদনৰ বাবে আৱশ্যক হোৱাৰ বাহিৰে মই এনে বিষয় যি অসমৰ এগৰাকী মন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ বিবেচনাৰ বাবে অনা হ'ব বা মোৰ জ্ঞাত হ'ব তেনে বিষয় মই কোনো ব্যক্তি বা ব্যক্তিসমূহৰ ওচৰত প্ৰত্যক্ষ বা পৰোক্ষভাৱে অৱগত বা প্ৰকাশ নকৰিম। Short signature.
Shri Charan Bodo, Minister Designate.
आं मुस्रि चरण बर' अबं गसाइनि मुङाव समायखिरा लानानै बुङोदि आङो आयेन खान्थिजों सुजुजानाय भारत संबिजितखौ सैथोयै फोथायगोन आरो गनायगोन। आं भारतनि सार्वभौमत्व आरो खौसेथिखौ रैखा खालामगोन। आं आसाम रायजोनि सासे मन्थ्रि महरै फोथायनाय आरो गोगो गोसोयै आंनि मावनो गोनां हाबाफोरखौ गिनाय एबा सोरखौबा अननाय, मोजां मोननाय एबा गिज्रा गोसो लायालासिनो संबिजित आरो खान्थि बायदियै गासैबो थाखोनि सुबुंनि फारसे गाहाम बिसायगोन। आं चरण बर' अबं गसाइनि मुङाव समायखिरा लानानै बुङोदि आसाम रायजोनि सासे मन्थ्रि महरै बिबान मावफुंनायाव आंनो मन्थ्रि महरै दैथाय हरनाय एबा मिथिहोनाय बाथ्राखौ जायखिजाया सुबुं एबा सुबुंफोरनो थोंजोङै एबा खेंसालियै फोरमायनाय एबा मिथिहोनाय नङा।
Srimati Ajanta Niyog, Minister Designate.
মই
শ্ৰীমতী অজন্তা নেওগ ঈশ্বৰৰ নামত শপত লওঁ যে বিধিৰ দ্বাৰা স্থাপিত ভাৰতৰ সংবিধানৰ প্ৰতি মই প্ৰকৃত বিশ্বাস আৰু আনুগত্য পোষণ কৰিম। মই ভাৰতৰ সাৰ্বভৌমত্ব আৰু অখণ্ডতা অক্ষুণ্ণ ৰাখিম। মই অসমৰ এগৰাকী মন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ কৰ্তব্য বিশ্বস্ততাৰে আৰু শুদ্ধ অন্তঃকৰণেৰে সম্পাদন কৰিম আৰু মই ভয় বা পক্ষপাত অনুৰাগ বা বিদ্বেষ নোহোৱাকৈ সংবিধান আৰু আইন অনুসাৰে সকলো শ্ৰেণীৰ লোকৰ প্ৰতি ন্যায় আচৰণ কৰিম।
মই
শ্ৰীমতী অজন্তা নেওগ ঈশ্বৰৰ নামত শপত লওঁ যে এগৰাকী অসমৰ মন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ কৰ্তব্যৰ যথাযথ সম্পাদনৰ বাবে আৱশ্যক হোৱাৰ বাহিৰে মই এনে বিষয় যি অসমৰ এগৰাকী মন্ত্ৰী হিচাপে মোৰ বিবেচনাৰ বাবে অনা হ'ব বা মোৰ জ্ঞাত হ'ব তেনে বিষয় মই কোনো ব্যক্তি বা ব্যক্তিসমূহৰ ওচৰত প্ৰত্যক্ষ বা পৰোক্ষভাৱে অৱগত বা প্ৰকাশ নকৰিম।
बहुत बधाई यार, बहुत शुभकामनाएं, बहुत बहुत।
Sir, the swearing-in is now complete. With your permission, the proceedings may now be closed. The proceedings are now closed. All are requested to kindly rise for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
There you have it. After crossing 100 seats, Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma has been sworn in today for his second consecutive term as the Chief Minister of Assam, leading the BJP-led NDA government into its third straight tenure following the alliance's strong victory in the 2026 Assembly elections. A seasoned politician and lawyer, Sarma has been at the helm since 2021 and is widely credited with driving development, security initiatives and welfare programs in the state. 4 ministers have also sworn in as part of Himanta's cabinet. Ajanta Niyog, a senior BJP leader and 5-time MLA from Golaghat, has taken oath today as a key minister in the new Sarma cabinet, serving as finance minister and minister for women and child development in the previous government. She is the first woman to hold the finance portfolio in Assam. Rameswar Teli, a prominent BJP representing the T tribe community, was sworn in as a cabinet minister today after transitioning from national to state politics. Formerly a union minister of state for petroleum and natural gas, labour and employment, and a Lok Sabha MP from Dibrugarh, Teli has a long association with Dilujan constituency. Atul Bora, on the other hand, president of the Assam Gana Parishad, the BJP's oldest regional ally, took oath today as a cabinet minister representing Golaghat. Bora has served as a senior minister handling key portfolios like agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry and implementation of the Assam Accord in previous governments. Sharan Boro of the Bodoland People's Front was also sworn in today, marking his party's active return and strengthening presence in the NDA cabinet. The 2-time MLA from Majbad represents Bodoland interests and had earlier joined the cabinet in 2025. This has all happened in the presence of a very enthusiastic audience of citizens of Assam. And with that being said, chief ministers from the BJP were all present during this oath-taking ceremony that has just concluded. Right after Himanta Biswa Sarma took oath, the first thing he did was go to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, folded his hands and took blessings. And as you can see those visuals on your screens, the Prime Minister, of course, met each of the chief ministers, and there you see the support that is already there. In fact, he's attended the swearing-in ceremony. He's marking a strong cultural support for the new state government. His presence signals political backing for Himanta Biswa Sarma and highlights the BJP's continued focus on Northeast region. Devendra Fadnavis, Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister, was also there in attendance. Senior BJP leaders also there in presence, as you can see flashing on your screen. So Suvendu Adhikari, who's just been sworn in as the West Bengal Chief Minister, was also there in attendance, as well as Rekha Gupta and many others, as you can see on your screens. It's been an action-packed day. Let me hop across to my colleague Nibir Deka, who joins us at the moment. Nibir, the swearing-in ceremony has just concluded. 5 ministers have sworn in. Give us the details.
Well, absolutely. We just concluded the swearing-in ceremony of the Assam Chief Minister, Himanta Biswa Sarma, and with him 4 cabinet ministers took oath as well, in presence of the Prime Minister as well as Union Home Minister and other union ministers present. Chief ministers of different states, including Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, West Bengal and other northeastern states are also present. This is indeed a very big occasion for the BJP. They have been given a mandate for the 3rd time, and the Himanta Biswa Sarma, he will be, leading the helm of affairs for the 2nd time in Assam. And today we saw that visible enthusiasm among the public. A lot of women have also turned up in huge numbers to show their support for the Chief Minister. And so it is indeed very important.
Right, absolutely. Nibir, we'll get back to you momentarily, but I have guests joining us at this point in time. Mr. Ramaswamy Mayappan, political analyst, joins us on the broadcast, as well as Ms. Raj Lakshmi Joshi, political analyst, also with us. Let me hop across to Mr. Mayappan, who's been very patient with us. And sir, you joined us when the oath-taking ceremony began. Now it's concluded. We've seen, of course, political bigwigs from the Bharatiya Janata Party there in support. What exactly do you make of the support that is given? Because, of course, we saw what happened in West Bengal, a thumping victory for the BJP, and now, of course, the same panning out in Assam, where, of course, the oath-taking ceremony has just concluded.
भारतवासियों को भारत माता को प्रणाम. First, my congratulations to Himanta Biswa Sarma and his cabinet, and congratulations to the workers of the BJP, AGP, and the BSF, and the people of Assam. First, for electing a very stable, strong, and decisive government with their mandate of 100 plus, and the BJP getting its first absolute majority. So congratulations to that. And then following, I think the entire BJP's top wigs and the sitting chief minister being present shows the importance that they attach to Assam. It is not going to be a satellite state like the Congress ruled or the UPA rule is going to be looked at. Assam is going to be one of the key states that the government looks at in terms of all facets in the northeast, all facets of infrastructure development, even foreign relations, across not just the northeast but even globally. In fact, if you look at it, today's guest list, you'd find it strange that normally for state functions you don't invite ambassadors to the country, but the representative of the US, Mr. Igor, was present today at the swearing in ceremony. That's the importance that Assam brings to not just the country but to the world as well. And that's what Himanta Biswa Sarma is also showing by having invited him, saying that Assam is now going global. We are going to be making sure that Assam is culturally visible to everyone, Assam's legacy is brought to everyone, and Assam will follow the developmental path that Prime Minister Modi has been taking the country towards, and that development will not just be only regional, but will be infrastructural, will be in IT and all major sectors, including defense manufacturing and other sectors, that will not just benefit the people of Assam, but all of the country.
Absolutely. Ms. Raj Lakshmi Joshi has also been very patient with us, and I'd like to understand from you, what does such a big gathering, essentially, such large presence of political bigwigs. We've, of course, Mr. Mayappan has spoken about Sergio Gore also being there in attendance. What does it truly signify?
Very good morning, and this is a very historic day for the BJP, especially in Assam, because not just is it the third term, it is the second term for a consecutive chief minister that belongs to a non-Congress party. So in past, Congress leaders have actually been there for long tenures, but then non-Congress have never ruled for a second consecutive time. So this and also in the last in these 5 elections, you may have seen that what has happened is in non-BJP ruled states, you have seen a huge surge of anti-incumbency, and whereas that has been true for all the 3 non-BJP ruled states. So you may have seen how they have been totally wiped out. And at the same time, in BJP ruled states, you have seen that they have returned to power. So that is how it has been here. And here, it has not just been a return to power, but with a better, like it's not just a pro-incumbency plus, I would say. So that is a kind of a performance. And also, Assam has been a very sensitive and a very significant state on all these years. Right. So a northeastern state, all these years, what has happened is over the decades, probably it was feeling a little alienated from the rest of the mainland. But now what has happened is, especially, like I would say that this is thanks to a lot of effort. You can't express in words the kind of efforts that were put in by BJP Karyakartas and RSS also, I must say, where they've played a huge role in all of this. For over decades, they have been doing this. And even now, after PM Modi took over, he has visited Assam specifically 38 times. And in the Northeast, he has visited almost 80 times now. So Assam, which was earlier kind of alienated, now it feels connected by road, rail, air, internet, and by hearts as well. So that is how PM Modi wants to say. And another thing that works in the BJP's favor is the person, Himanta Biswa Sarma. He is hugely popular in the way in which he connects with the people, and the kind of policies and the kind of charisma he has, by which he has been able to, sign almost, I think, 11 peace accords which was a huge thing because you know that there was a lot of insurgency. There were a lot of disturbances happening in not just in Assam but in a lot of places in the northeast. So he has been very instrumental in all of that, in creating some peace accords which were pending for decades. And now also he did a lot of revolutionary policies which helped especially the women. So that is why he's a huge hit, especially among the women. And now, the M factor, that is a Mahila factor, is a huge aspect by which the electorate, I mean, the electoral your results are hugely swayed. And that is, I think, how Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma has won this mandate with a huge margin. And you may have seen that by themselves, actually, BJP has a huge majority. And apart from that, even the AGP and the BDP also have 10 seats each. So,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
the alliance has been strong for the last 3 terms. The alliance has been extremely strong, and you have symbolic faces from all the alliance partners today taking oaths. So that, I think, it's a very historic occasion.
Absolutely. Mr. Mayappan, I'd like to come to you and essentially talk about the 5 ministers who sworn in. Ajanta Niyog ji, Rameshwar Teli, Atul Bora ji, Charan Boro. What kind of leadership does this seasoned cabinet bring to the table?
See, first, just apart from their leadership and all that, I think I want to bring one. When any government swears in, their ministers are brought in, there are 2 symbolisms that we have to look at. One, in terms of the number of people from different caste, community, region that are brought in. Here, the representation of women that is being brought in, a tribal leader that is being brought in, hard-working leaders that are being brought in, and Rajalakshmi ji also clearly referred that the BJP has a single largest majority. But despite that, AGP and BPF getting their ministerial berth shows how close the BJP is with their alliance partners, supports them irrespective of where they stand in line.
Right.
And now next going into it, at the union we have a woman finance minister and we have a woman finance minister in Assam. The party stands for women empowerment not just by words but by actions also, showing that traditionally parties and individuals might have joked that women are responsible for home affairs and finances at the home, but we would not have brought them to light in politics. But the BJP has consistently shown important key portfolios are given to women and that their ability is demonstrated to the entire populace, that thereby inspiring young women to take up that opportunity. So it's that symbolism that I'm talking about, that young women today will think that, oh, I could also potentially become this, and this importance will be given in a male dominated or a chauvinist world. I still have this opportunity. That's the change and transformation that the BJP is bringing. And the BJP is showing another thing by also making one of their union leaders, a tall leader, a tribal leader, being brought to Assam, that we respect all of the people in the state, irrespective of what caste, community, what region you belong to, your importance is known to us. And we will deliver by them being given important portfolios and all major decisions in the state being taken, they will form a part of it. So that is the first next symbolism that I want to show. And now in terms of the seniority, all these people fought on key issues of Assam. So we know that Assam had a trust factor with the union government for a very long time. Let it be Rajiv Gandhi, Indira Gandhi or Narasimha Rao, and subsequently maybe even Vajpayee's period to an effect. But that change has taken place now. The trust with the union government, the mood has changed. And obviously, the Sharma factor was a major factor in the election as well. So that change in how Assam is going to grow, despite the odds of being located in the far east corner of the country, their natural resources being dominant, land connectivity and logistics being an issue, Assam will still be a tall growing state that will see all projects of the government of India being brought to the state. And the next thing is specific projects that we need to look at. Assam being converted into a tech hub. What we traditionally saw either in Chennai or in Hyderabad or in Bangalore being looked as tech hubs, or like a Delhi or a Kolkata or a Mumbai being looked at as finance hubs. Now Guwahati and other regions of Assam transforming into these tech and finance hubs is a major change for all states now to compete, saying that I can also be another Assam. I can make my own tech hub, I can make my own finance hub, and that will increase progress and progress not just the people but also the state. Because when we talk about developmental index, we talk about GDP, we talk about the ability to borrow, we talk about the per capita GDP, and we talk about overall GERs also. All these factors will automatically increase because all the youngsters in Assam will now get employed in these different corporations. They will have the opportunity to establish their own businesses. These are the welcome measures that will be visible from these new ministers that have taken oath today. That's something that I see. And one more major important that I see is the legacy of Assam, the culture of Assam. There is one reason why I'm wearing the gamosa today is just symbolic. I may be located in the far southeast corner in Chennai, but the influence that Assam has brought to all of the country is something that's visible even in me today. If I can talk about it from about 3,000 kilometers away, that's the influence that Assam is going to take to the entire world.
You've really beautifully summed that up, so I must say that. And you know, about your attire, it's suiting you really well. And like you said, it's a great symbol of today being a historic day, taking forward the culture. Ms. Raj Lakshmi Joshi, let me take from what sir has said about women empowerment specifically. The fact that women are being given roles and responsibilities that are fueling dreams of many younger generations to come who would like to be politicians, who would like to do well for the country and for Assam as well. How do you see, you know, the way BJP is conducting themselves on that front?
Yes, that is a very interesting and a very significant question, especially because, like I said, you know, that Mahila factor is a very important factor today in electoral politics. Though I don't see that this thing is happening only during elections, but if you have seen Himanta Biswa Sarma ji and especially PM Modi, you know, PM Modi has always been talking about Nari Shakti. He has been talking about women empowerment, but nowadays he doesn't talk about women empowerment. He talks about women-led development. So, and that is also visible in the way in which Mr. Mayappan has also very rightly pointed out that we have a woman finance minister in India and in the union cabinet, and similarly in Assam as well. And our finance minister was earlier the defense minister as well. So that is something that very few countries can talk about, that we have a woman as a defense minister. So such key positions that have been held, this kind of a women-led development that is happening, especially in the BJP tenure, that is something that is remarkable. So now, you know, there are a lot of schemes and policies that have actually kind of turned the tide in Assam, especially for women. Like one is the Ornoday scheme, so which is actually connected with the direct cash transfer to women. So that actually goes a long way into creating this kind of a a rapport. And also there is another one, that is Basundhara, which is again about a digitalized transfer of land records. And you know, if you have noticed in the past few years, PM Modi has been talking about how in nowadays these land transfers are happening in the name of women especially. So that also creates a lot of importance and significance, especially for women, because you know, the woman is a major factor while holding together an entire family. So PM Modi and Himanta Biswa Sarma ji also, they've been doing a lot about this, you know, and especially in Assam and in all the northeast states as well. There are a lot of indigenous tribes. So this land factor and making sure that they don't lose their land to infiltrators, that is a huge issue here. So this thing about infiltration was a huge issue, and because of which actually there were definitely you know, the people on ground were definitely hassled. So it was not as if that was a manufactured issue just to make it a Hindu-Muslim issue. It was not a Hindu-Muslim issue, but it was a infiltrator issue where indigenous people were losing land and other opportunities, other resources to infiltrators. And again, that was also a security issue as well. So all the drugs and all the other, all the insurgency, all of that was being affected by all these infiltrators. So when it comes to all these land being digitalized and transferred to women especially, so you can imagine the huge kind of an impact that it has. And another thing is, like I was talking about the connectivity issue. Now you can imagine that once you have all this connectivity, it becomes so much easier for young girls to get educated and to look for not just education but also for a good occupation and
Right.
to follow a career. So all of this is all connected. So this connectivity has created a good impetus in making sure that all the girls and young women, they not only feel empowered but they become a part of the system and of the economy. So that is how women are more and more empowered, and that is why they have more and more confidence in this government. And there are a lot of other issues, like I was talking about the land accords,
Right.
peace accords. So all of that, that has helped create peace in the region, because the insurgency, all of that was creating a lot of havoc, and because of which people were not able to lead a normal life. So now, with all the insurgency a lot under control, so all of these factors go a long way into ensuring that people can actually stay within Assam, stay within the Northeast, and also lead a nice and peaceful life. So that prosperity, it shows, and that is why the people have shown so much confidence in this government, and they want this government to stay, so that they can reap the benefits in the years to
Okay.
come as well. So
Absolutely. I wish I could continue this conversation with the two of you, but due to paucity of time, I'd like to thank you for taking out time and speaking to us on Newsx. We're going to leave it there and shift our focus to some news coming in from the international arena. Well, a CBS News report reveals that Pakistan, while it played a diplomatic conduit between Tehran and Washington, reportedly allowed Iranian military planes to use its airfields as parking, following the outbreak of conflict in the Middle East, potentially shielding them from American and Israeli airstrikes. Tehran also parked some of its civilian aircrafts in neighboring Afghanistan, though it was not clear if military planes were among those flights. Sources told the American publication that Tehran moved several of its key defense assets to Pakistan Air Force Base in Noor Khan, located just outside of Rawalpindi. The strategically important military installation located near Islamabad provided a secure shelter for Iran to protect its military and aviation assets, while Pakistan officially mediated truce efforts between Tehran and Washington. Among the military hardware that was sent to Pakistan was an Iranian Air Force RC-130, a reconnaissance and intelligence gathering variant of Lockheed produced C-130 Hercules tactical transport aircraft, and the report states all of that. U.S. officials with knowledge of the matter told CBS that aircrafts were sent to Noor Khan Air Base days after President Trump announced the ceasefire with Iran in early April. Let's read out this report comprehensively to give you an understanding on what it is that we're referring to and why has it become the talk of the town. So, of course, CBS had put out this news as an exclusive piece. It's right there on your screens. And let me quickly tell you the headline with which they have spoken about it. Pakistan allowed Iran to park military aircrafts on its airfields despite mediator role in the U.S. conflict. The authors of this article are mentioned right over here: James Laporta, Jennifer Jacobs, and Sami Yousafzai. Now, what's mentioned over here is as follows. As Pakistan positioned itself as a diplomatic conduit between Tehran and Washington, quietly allowed Iranian military aircraft to park on its field, potentially shielding them from American airstrikes, according to U.S. officials with knowledge of the matter. Iran also sent civilian aircrafts to park in neighboring Afghanistan. It was not clear if military aircrafts were among those, two officials told CBS News. Together, the movements reflected an apparent effort to insulate some of Iran's remaining military and aviation assets from the expanding conflict, even as officials publicly served as brokers for de-escalation. The U.S. officials who also spoke only under conditions of anonymity to discuss national security issues, told CBS News that days after President Trump announced a ceasefire with Iran in early April, Tehran sent multiple aircrafts to Pakistan Air Force Base Noor Khan, a strategically important military installation located just outside of Pakistan's garrison city of Rawalpindi. Among the military hardware with the Iranian Air Force RC-130, a reconnaissance and intelligence gathering variant of the Lockheed C-130 Hercules tactical transport aircraft as well. U.S. Central Command referred CBS News to Afghanistan and Pakistan officials for commenting. And a senior Pakistan official rejected the claims involving Noor Khan Air Base. That's what they told the CBS News, that the Noor Khan base is right in the heart of the city, that is Rawalpindi. A large fleet of aircrafts parked there can't be hidden from the public eye. According to the Afghan civil aviation officer who has spoken to this publication, an Iranian civilian aircraft belonging to Mahan Air landed in Kabul shortly before the war started. After Iranian airspace was closed, the aircraft remained parked in Kabul airport. Later, when Pakistan began airstrikes on Kabul in March, during the tensions with the Taliban-led government over allegations that the Afghanistan Taliban was offering a safe haven to the group, the Taliban's civil aviation authorities decided to move the aircraft to Herat airport near the Iranian border for safety reasons, to protect it from possible bombing of the Kabul airport by Pakistani jets. And this is what the article, the exclusive piece that the CBS has come out with, has stated. Like I told you, the headliner is Pakistan allowed Iran to park military aircrafts on its airfields despite mediator role in the conflict with the US. Major General Sanjay Soy, defense expert, joins us on the broadcast to give us his perspectives. Of course, this report has come out, and what is essentially trying to get at is the fact that Pakistan allowed Iran to park military aircrafts at a time when it was playing the mediator's role. If this were to be true, what could perhaps take place next?
Yeah, very, very interesting development. In fact, I would say that this media report is, from military point of view, from intelligence point of view, from strategic point of view, is very, very surprising, because Pakistan has allowed, that say, though they don't have much credibility as it is in international arena, but they would not, I think they would not like to take go against US at the moment. They don't have power and they are totally sold out, and whatever US is telling them to do, they may not like to risk their relationship with US at this moment. And I would say that if these aircrafts were parked before the war started, it was agreed. But since they have been told that they were parked and they were sent here after the ceasefire was declared in April, I have my doubts in this report, because US also has a CIA. They are also monitoring the flight paths of Iranian aircraft, especially military aircraft taking off from Iran and landing in Pakistan. These are could be a part of propaganda, could be part of psychological warfare, or could be this kind of information could have been fed by the Iran also to create a difference between America and Pakistan. Anything is possible in this era of cognitive warfare and social media, whatever is fed. So, however, Afghanistan has agreed that the aircraft was there, and it is quite possible that a couple of military aircraft also could have been there in Afghanistan, which they may not accept. But you are right in that way. Afghanistan is possible. In Pakistan, I have my doubts. Because if this thing comes out true, which Americans will always be able to find out, then I think Pakistan will have no face to have any standing with America. Yeah.
Absolutely, sir. I request you to stay on with us, because I want to put out some very important timeline and figures that one must know as far as this development, this report is concerned. Let's get my screen going and show you what exactly I'm referring to. On 8th April 2026, let's put this on our screens, please, so that our viewers are aware of the conversation that's happening. On 8th April 2026, US President Donald Trump announced a ceasefire with Iran after mediation by Pakistan. Then on 10th April 2026, Iran sent multiple aircrafts to Pakistan's Noor Khan Air Base, including an RC-130. High-level talks, on the other hand, were taking place on the 11th and 12th of April between US and Iran delegations mediated by Islamabad. Three very important aspects and timelines that one should keep in mind. I'd like to go across to Major General Sanjay Soy to get your perspective on that front, because from what I remember, Donald Trump had also praised Mr. Assam Munir for playing a key role in mediation between the US and Iran. He also said that because of Assam Munir, they'd held of strikes that they were planning on doing on Iran. So he will not be happy if these reports are to be true. What do you make of this timeline, in fact?
Yeah, absolutely, Ashwari. In fact, you're right. One thing is possible. The timelines which you have brought out is the aircraft would have definitely come, because the team had to come, and maybe some security elements, some of the initial staff, and whatever documents they wanted to bring, and the certain things they showcased there, they would have been brought on 8th, and rest of the delegation would have come on 10th or 11th. But however, whether they stayed back or they went back, that's a matter of concern. And as you rightly brought out, and I also mentioned earlier, that if this comes out true, I think that Trump is not going to leave. But knowing Pakistan, like what we call it, fitrat of Pakistan, their thought process, this is also possible. But in the present situation, the kind of intelligence hold US has in Pakistan, the kind of surveillance they are able to carry out, I have my doubts if Pakistan would take a risk with this kind of thing, Ashwari.
In your assessment, I want to understand from you, if Pakistan has done what is being claimed in this report, do you think instead of being a mediator, they were essentially shielding Iran while essentially portraying themselves as mediators, as people who want the good, who want a ceasefire? What's your assessment?
I don't fully agree with the report. I agree with the report as far as Afghanistan is concerned, but as far as Pakistan is concerned, I might doubt that Pakistan will risk any spoiling of relationship and with US at this moment, because they are being taken as a best friend. Assam Munir is being praised by Trump, has been called for lunch, and a lot of help and praises are being bestowed upon Pakistan. At this time, I have my doubt they would like to risk all that with a bit of relationship with Iran. Because the one thing is that Pakistan was also allowed to send ships, oil, and all through Strait of Hormuz, and whether they paid the cost by allowing it, but with this dilemma is there. I think I have my doubts that they will do this, because their relationship with America, they would weigh much more than supporting Iran at this moment.
Right, absolutely.
And they've been speaking of the language of Trump. Actually, whatever Trump has said, which Iran has blamed them, that whatever they are saying, they are totally siding with America, and the mediation is more or less one-sided. Ashwara.
Absolutely, sir. I request you to stay on with us, because, of course, your inputs are extremely valuable to us. And there's something else that we want to essentially present to our viewers as we talk about this in great detail. Let's quickly put out what I have over here on my touchpad so that people understand what we're trying to get at, the timelines, what it is that the US is saying, what's Pakistan's position on the same. Well, the US says that US officials have claimed shortly after ceasefire, Pakistan allowed Iran to park military aircrafts at the Noor Khan Air Base. Pakistan's position, on the other hand, is that Pakistan categorically rejected the CBS report as misleading and sensationalized. Number two, the US is now saying that this is viewed as Pak quietly shielding Iranian assets from further US strikes. Pakistan, on the other hand, is saying that the aircrafts arrived to facilitate movement of diplomatic personnel, security teams and administrative staff. The third fundamental factor that we need to look into is that Republican Senator Lindsey Graham has called for a review of re-evaluation of Pak's role as a mediator. Pakistan officials, on the other hand, are saying that Noor Khan is a densely populated urban area. Any large-scale hidden military parking can't be hidden from the public eye. Story has been blown out of proportion. So I'd like to understand from you. They're talking about the Noor Khan Air Base, saying that it's practically impossible to hide a military aircraft over there, given the amount of space that's there, and therefore they're trying to make this argument that this piece that is put out by the CBS is being blown out of proportions, it's misleading and it's sensationalized. What do you make of it?
Yeah, in fact, two, three things. Number one, the aircraft would have come on air, no doubt about it, as a part of preparation for a delegation from Iran, and more aircraft would have come on the day of the meeting. And whether all the aircraft left or some of them stayed back, that's a big question. And as far as keeping them in the open, there are aircraft shelters are there. They could have been kept in the shelter. That is also possible. And third is whether, again, I would say, Pakistan would like to take a risk of their loss of image with US or relationship with US. That's a big question mark, because whatever Assam Munir has been talking the language, what Trump has been telling him, he has been saying whatever has been dictated by them. In fact, Shehbaz Sharif has put a tweet without even amending anything. So all these things have been there, but with this, I have my doubts whether they will allow, or maybe the Americans would have said, okay, with the permission, if these two aircraft are here, and we'll go through and study and everything, whatever data they have, and that is also possible. But without America's consent, I don't think so Pakistan would take a risk of holding them back to shelter Iran.
Major General Soy, thank you so much for taking out time, speaking to us on Newsx and answering, many vital questions, amidst this duplicity that's coming to the front. Thank you for your time. All right, on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. Thanks for watching.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के मार्गदर्शन और मुख्यमंत्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी के कुशल नेतृत्व में आत्मनिर्भर हो रहे हैं किसान और बन रही है उन्नत और जैविक प्रदेश की पहचान। सरकार की कल्याणकारी योजनाओं से प्रदेश भर में किसान परंपरागत कृषि की ओर लौटे हैं और साथ में लौटी है आय में बढ़ोतरी और उत्पादों में पौष्टिकता। परंपरागत कृषि विकास योजना और नमामि गंगे योजना के अंतर्गत 300 से ज्यादा जैविक आउटलेट स्थापित किए गए हैं। प्रदेश भर में 4000 से ज्यादा जैविक क्लस्टर संचालित किए जा रहे हैं, जो करीब 2.5 लाख हेक्टेयर भूमि पर 100% जैविक कृषि कर रहे हैं। लघु, सीमांत और महिला किसानों तक कृषि यंत्रों की पहुंच बढ़ाने हेतु पर्वतीय क्षेत्रों में 3400 से ज्यादा फार्म मशीनरी बैंक और मैदानी क्षेत्रों में 313 कस्टम हायरिंग सेंटर स्थापित किए जा चुके हैं। नेशनल मिशन ऑन नेचुरल फार्मिंग के तहत प्रदेश के 11 जनपदों के 10,000 हेक्टेयर क्षेत्र में 200 नए क्लस्टर बनाए जा रहे हैं। उत्तराखंड में मौसम आधारित फसल बीमा योजना के तहत किसान दिवस पर 88,000 किसानों के खाते में 65 करोड़ रुपए का मुआवजा प्रदान किया गया है। किसानों को आत्मनिर्भर और स्वावलंबी बनाने के लिए पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि योजना के अंतर्गत करीब 8 लाख किसानों को 162 करोड़ रुपए डीबीटी के माध्यम से प्रदान किए गए हैं। विकसित कृषि संकल्प अभियान के तहत कृषि को लाभकारी, टिकाऊ और जलवायु अनुकूल बनाने पर जोर दिया जा रहा है। उत्तराखंड में सरकार के अथक प्रयास से तय हो रहे हैं नए आयाम, मिल रहा है सम्मान और आत्मनिर्भर हुए हैं किसान।
घिसते तोड़ते कुटते गिरते नानी दादी का नाम याद आता है।
हमको तो एक ही नाम याद आता है, NDH शाही पनीर मसाला।
पनीर को क्या मस्त बना डाला।
NDH का असली शाही पनीर मसाला,
वो असली मसाले सच सच NDH।
हमें पता है चमकी चाट से क्या बना है,
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े, चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े
और चाट पपड़ी दही बल्ले,
चमकी चाट से बल्ले बल्ले।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us at Newsx. Our big focus this hour is crude oil prices surge past $105 per barrel and tensions escalate in West Asia. Prime Minister Modi has urged Indians to rethink some everyday habits. Use less petrol and diesel, increase the adoption of electric vehicles, avoid unnecessary foreign travel, postpone non-essential gold purchases, reduce dependence on imported products. The broader message, however, was about reducing dependence on imported energy resources across the board. The concern has intensified after Brent crude prices surged above $105 a barrel following fresh uncertainty surrounding the US-Iran conflict and fears over disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important oil shipping routes. US benchmark West Texas Intermediate rose 2.54% to $97.84 a barrel. Meanwhile, petrol and diesel prices in India may be heading towards another round of increases as surging crude oil prices and tensions in West Asia put pressure on OMCs, government finances and India's import bill. Jayajit Bhattacharya, President CDEPR, is joining us on the broadcast. Jayajit, this appeal by Prime Minister, pretty timely, but obviously there is a broader message, an underlying message through it all, reduced dependence on, of course, foreign imports.
Yes, unfortunately, 90% of our energy imports is imported. And therefore, that puts a lot of pressure on India. Now, when the energy prices, which is essentially the oil prices, go up globally, it has a deep impact on India. Energy is roughly 20% of our total import basket. So imagine if the prices go up by 50%, and that's the difference between the average price that we paid in 2025-26 versus what is the price now. It's going to burn a very big hole in India's current account deficit. Now, whenever we are importing more in terms of value, it also impacts our inflation, and therefore clearly rupee will depreciate, and we see rupee depreciating, as well as it'll have an impact on prices that we of goods that we consume on a day-to-day basis. So it's going to set off a whole chain of negative economic trend because of the issue of oil price, which is clearly out of our control. What the government has attempted till now, from the time that the Iran conflict started, was to make sure that all available sources of energy are put to generating energy, in the sense that even petrochemicals that were used for other purposes have now been diverted back into their usage of being cracked into energy, such as LPG and so on and so forth. There's also been a significant push into using alternate energy sources such as ethanol to be blended into petrol, and a significant push into solar. We are one of the most solar-ready nations in the world, but we still needed more time to make the transition. And unfortunately, we're in the midst of a global conflict wherein there is a direct impact on the prices of energy, which is going to burn a significant hole in our finances. Also, more importantly, we were in a very good financial situation and economic situation where our fiscal deficit was coming back to less than 4.4%. Last year was 4.4. We were gliding towards 4.3 this year. But all of that mathematics has gone out of the window. We'll struggle to possibly have our current account deficit within 5% so that we do not have any pain for the vulnerable sections of this country.
Absolutely. And this comes though at a time when once again we've seen oil prices cross $105 a barrel, raising fresh concern amidst the uncertainty, Jajit.
Yes, India does have strategic reserves, but that's not too much in that sense, in the sense of what this country needs. It's not a reserve that can help us for a long time, and also it's a reserve on which our military is also dependent on. So we can't really depend on that reserve, and hence it's a concern that how do we make sure that we bridge that gap in terms of energy sourcing. As I said, there is a push on other sources such as uranium and nuclear power generated from uranium, thorium, and so on and so forth. We have had many technological breakthroughs, but we are still not there. We need at least 5 more years to have a significant shift in our energy mix. Now, the other source of energy is coal that we have been using, but as per the Paris Accord, we have been trying to reduce our dependence on coal. And also a lot of the coal itself is getting imported. Now, along with the imports of oil, other chemicals and petrochemicals have also become more expensive. That's feeding back into our economic cycle, which is pushing up the prices. So yes, we have managed till date, but moving forward, it'll be very, very difficult to maintain the kind of cushion that we have maintained, especially when we compare India with the rest of the world,
yes,
including developed nations like Hong Kong and Singapore, where the price of oil, of petrol has been in Indian rupees. In Hong Kong, it has been around 300 rupees. In Singapore, around 250 rupees, while in India, it's around 100 rupees.
Yes.
So that's going to be a challenge.
Okay. Well, we're getting more news now also coming in. Fertilizer prices have hit their highest level since May 2022, surging 52% year over year. Urea prices have skyrocketed by around $80 to $200 per ton from pre-war levels, nearing $700 per metric ton in some markets, effectively doubling or surging 50%. The Finance Ministry has approved additional fertilizer subsidy for the June quarter as the West Asia crisis pushes up global prices and raises concerns over supplies ahead of the Kharif sowing season. At the same time, the government has stepped up procurement to avoid shortages. Fertilizer availability has increased by nearly 21 lakh tons, while an additional 7 lakh tons of NPK, that's nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium fertilizers, are expected to arrive at Indian ports in May and June. Fertilizer prices have increased since the start of the West Asia crisis, especially urea prices, which have nearly doubled. Despite this, the government has kept the selling price of fertilizers for farmers unchanged. So now fertilizer prices, urea prices also are seeing a significant spike, Jaideep Bhattacharya.
Absolutely. Fertilizer, basically, what we have been using in the farms is what is popularly called NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. They're created from feedstock which does not exist in India. So it's, you need phosphate rock, you need potash, you need natural gas, gypsum, sulfur. Now, none of this actually exists in our country in the quantum that is really needed. And therefore, India is massively dependent on imports of these raw materials. And so, we get natural gas from Russia. It's costing about $2 per MMBTU in Russia. By the time it comes to India, it becomes $14 an MMBTU. So therefore, under even normal circumstances, things are expensive in India compared to the rest of the world. In the scenario where there's a conflict, there's an increased cost of insurance for the ships which are bringing these raw materials into the country. It becomes even more challenging. The costs have obviously gone up. Also keep in mind that there has been a continued conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Russia is one of the largest provider of much of these fertilizers, including DAP and so on. And therefore, it's creating a choke. Another source of some of the raw materials is Morocco, as an example, or Syria. Now, all of them are either in a conflict zone or their supply chains to India has been choked because of the Iran conflict and other related conflicts that's going on. The prices of these fertilizers going up is going to be a big challenge for India, because that really means that the cost of food will be going up. And as we all know, food is something that we can't live with. And hence, it will have a very, very deep impact on the vulnerable sections of the society. And I guess that's
and which is why perhaps to try and mitigate this, procurement has been stepped up by the government.
Absolutely, absolutely. To make sure that the last person standing in this country is not devoid of food. So that's where this procurement initiative of the government has come in, to make sure that there's enough fertilizer, to make sure, therefore, that there's enough food. Also, please do keep in mind that we are also going through a phase of climate change. So we don't really know whether there will be enough rains in the current coming sowing season. So there is quite a few troubles that are coming up from the agricultural sector because of the war and the conflicts, as well as because of the upcoming climate change, where we are seeing that there is no predictability in the rains. We believe, and the forecast has been that there may be a deficient rainfall in this current sowing season. So that'll be very, very concerning.
Right. India's domestic oil production as well is under sharp focus as global tensions continue to impact energy markets before the conflict-driven disruptions in West Asia. India's crude oil output averaged around 600 to 620,000 barrels per day. In the aftermath of the war and rising geopolitical uncertainty, production dynamics, strategic reserves and refinery operations have come under renewed pressure. While India remains heavily dependent on imports for nearly 85% of its crude requirement, authorities and energy companies have intensified efforts to stabilize supply chains, boost refinery resilience and expand domestic exploration. Experts say the real challenge is not just production volume, but managing price volatility, shipping risks and securing uninterrupted energy access for a fast-growing economy. Jayajit Bhattacharya continues to be with us live on this big story. Jayajit, domestic oil production now also under the focus, given the fact that our energy needs and widely growing energy needs need to be catered for in this challenging scenario.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we have been kind of cushioned till now, but it is difficult to continue that cushion moving forward. As per the statistics, even our domestic production of oil seems to be going down over a period of time. The new discoveries, such as the ones in the Andaman Basin, has still not been productionized. So it's going to be quite some time before we productionize those hydrocarbon discoveries that we have. And hence, as we mentioned a little while ago, it's going to be a very challenging situation from an energy perspective for India, unless the conflict gets over quickly. And there are indications that the conflict may be at its last stage. But till the time it does not happen, until the time that there is no free flow of oil, and till the time that the infrastructure that has been damaged in the Middle East comes back, gets repaired, we will continue to face such a challenge. However, as soon as the conflict does get over, because of the change in sentiments, the prices of oil will be coming down, even though the infrastructure which is related to oil may not really be completely fixed. But because of the sentiment, we should be able to have cheaper access to oil. But for the oil flow to really resume, it will probably take 2 to 3 years for that to come back in stream.
All right. In fact, let me also ask you about, Jayajit, this, what all steps need to be taken to prioritize refinery resilience, domestic exploration, and this diversification, to boost indigenous production?
Yeah, I think the real question is that how do we change our energy basket? We have what we have within this country. If for a long time we have not discovered any large hydrocarbon basin which can serve 16% of the global population, as India reflects 16% of the global population, we need to move to other kinds of energy mix. Now let's stick to hydrocarbons for some time. The only major hydrocarbons that we have been getting, which is petroleum in that sense, is from the northeast in Assam and a bit in Krishna Godavari Basin in terms of natural gas or LNG in that sense. But that is not enough for this country. We need much more. And therefore, we do need to move to other forms of energy. We are blessed with tremendous amount of sunlight, and therefore solar is an obvious choice. This government has doubled down on solar. We have, in a way, exploded in terms of our installed capacity in solar. The next big area is nuclear, and especially the small modular reactors. And again, this government has doubled down in ensuring that we are one of the first ones to adopt SMRs, which is small nuclear reactors, at a large scale, which is going to really alleviate our problem in terms of energy. There's a third route in terms of converting some of the coal into chemicals and petrochemicals, which can then be used for generating energy, or coal directly being used for energy. But the problem with coal is the fact that it is leading to more damage to the environment, and hence that's something that the government has been trying to stay away from. So these are some of the energy mixes and possibilities that the government can look at and is already looking at for quite some time. Beyond that, we are really constrained by the principles of physics and the principles of what we have been allocated in the land that we live in.
India's foreign exchange reserves are under close watch after PM Modi urged citizens to curb non-essential gold purchases, reduce fuel consumption and avoid unnecessary foreign travel as global energy prices and geopolitical tensions strain external balances. India's forex reserve stands at around $690.69 billion according to the latest RBI data. This is down from an all-time high of $728.5 billion, which was hit in late February 2026. The fall comes on costlier crude oil and a weaker rupee amidst the West Asia conflict. In the previous reporting week ended April 24th, the overall reserves had declined by $4.82 billion to $698.487 billion. The decline was driven mainly by lower gold reserves and foreign currency assets, underscoring India's exposure to global swings in crude oil and bullion prices. Foreign currency assets, the largest component of reserves, fell by $2.80 billion to $551.83 billion amidst continued dollar strength. Gold reserves declined more sharply by $5.02 billion to $115.22 billion. The timing of the reserve data is significant, coming just as the Prime Minister has intensified calls for domestic restraint on high import consumption items. So clearly, Jaideep Bhattacharya, the forex reserves fall is also a concern at this juncture.
Absolutely. Money is leaving India since the conflict started. In fact, from Jan to April, there's been almost $2 trillion that has left India, which is basically the foreign portfolio investment. To give an estimate, that's equivalent to half the GDP of this country that is left in terms of what used to be called as hot money. Now that will have an impact on the strength of the rupee. In addition, the current account deficit of India has gone up for reasons that are outside the control of this country. And that obviously has led to the RBI trying to shore up the value of rupee so that it contains inflation, and therefore a lot of dollar selling happened from RBI, which is where we see a reduced foreign exchange reserve of RBI and of this country, because that reserve was used to defend the rupee. And still we have seen a very significant decline in the rupee, because you look at the magnitude of what happened. The equivalent of half of the GDP of this country left as foreign portfolio investment. It left the shores of this country, and therefore it had a very, very deep impact on both the value of the rupee and in the foreign exchange reserve that we have, which was used to defend the rupee. So we seem to be facing a lot of challenges in multiple areas. I must say at this stage that the government has done a very, very commendable job in trying to defend in multiple areas, and especially when compared to other countries who have not been able to do as good a job.
Okay, let me in fact quickly address some more news coming in regarding the rupee now. If the rupee had a fitness tracker, 2026 would probably show it running a marathon uphill. The Indian rupee has clocked its sharpest one-day fall since March to close 83 paise lower to 95.31 against the US dollar. On Friday, the legal tender had settled at 94.48 per dollar. This comes amidst global uncertainty and relentless pressure.
Hello and a very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching Newsx and I'm Kriti Mehta. We'll start with a check of the top headlines this hour. Congress is likely to announce the chief ministerial phase for Kerala today. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge to meet formal Keralam Congress presidents to finalize the decision. Himanta Biswa Sarma takes oath today as Assam's chief minister for the second time. Prime Minister Modi, US Ambassador Sergio Gore attend the ceremony.
West Bengal Chief Election Officer Manoj Kumar Agarwal has been appointed the Chief Secretary of West Bengal. Decision comes as Suvendu Adhikari allotted portfolios among the 5 ministers who took oath with him. Nashik TCS religious conversion case accused Nida Khan has been sent to judicial custody for 14 days. Official confirm questioning is underway. Shocking news emerges from the national capital. 2 women alleged racially charged assault by 7 men outside the Nehru Place Club. Police registers FIR after recovering CCTV. Punjab's Aam Aadmi Party government re-allots portfolios previously held by Minister Sanjeev Arora after his arrest. Portfolio distributed among Aman Arora, Harjot Singh Bens and Tarunpreet Sood. American passengers evacuated from the hantavirus-hit cruise ship MV Honduras. They've arrived in Omaha, Nebraska for specialized quarantine and medical monitoring. US media reports Pakistan allowed Iran to park military aircraft, including the RC-130, on its airfields despite mediator role in conflict with the US, potentially shielding them from American airstrikes. And viewers, on to our top focus now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged Indians to adopt voluntary austerity measures amid rising global oil prices triggered by West Asia tension, aiming to cut fuel imports, conserve foreign exchange and promote a self-reliance. In his recent addresses, he outlined 7 key appeals. Prioritize work from home to reduce commuting, avoid gold purchases for a year, cut petrol and diesel use by opting for public transport, carpooling and EVs, reduce consumption of imported cooking oils, shift from chemical fertilizers to natural farming, prefer Swadeshi over foreign branded products, and minimize non-essential foreign travel along with lavish destination weddings. Framed as a nation-first collective effort. Let's in fact go across to Arzu Seth, my colleague who's reporting live from Delhi. Will get in a sense of how the situation there at petrol pumps currently are. Arzu, if you're connected with us, take us through the situation on the ground.
Well, definitely, the Prime Minister has urged the citizen to cut the use of fuel. And in fact, apart from that, he also urged people to promote the work from home culture and also to hold online meetings and also to avoid foreign travels. All these things have been urged amid the conflict or tension that is happening in the world. And right now, I'm present at a petrol pump and will directly go across the public to understand, because we also earlier talked with some of the people, and they have said they will be doing what is in the national interest. On the other side, the people also conscious and worried about why Prime Minister has said something like that. So we'll directly go across the public to understand how they see the Prime Minister appeal. सर, हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं, प्रधानमंत्री ने कल जो अपील की है कि फ्यूल को कम इस्तेमाल करें, वर्क फ्रॉम होम करें, ऑनलाइन मीटिंग करें, प्रधानमंत्री की इस अपील को कैसे देखते हैं जिस तरीके से टेंशन चल रही है वर्ल्ड में?
उन्होंने जो बोला है ठीक ही बोला है, वो पूरे देश को चला रहे हैं, बाकी देखते हैं इसका क्या इफेक्ट पड़ता है, लेकिन ज़रूरी काम के लिए तो जाना ही पड़ेगा ना।
तो आप लोग सहयोग करेंगे? अगर
बिल्कुल सहयोग करेंगे, प्रधानमंत्री के साथ हैं हम।
बिल्कुल। So definitely we can hear the sentiment or what the people has to say, that they will be with the Prime Minister, what the Prime Minister has said. प्रधानमंत्री ने जो अपील की है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम का कल्चर को बढ़ावा दें ताकि फ्यूल की बचत हो सके, क्योंकि दाम नहीं बढ़ाए जा रहे हैं इंडिया में, बाकी आप देशों में देखिए रेट बहुत बढ़ गए। किस तरीके से देख रहे हैं प्रधानमंत्री की अपील?
मेरी नज़र में तो एक ये सही बात है, क्योंकि जिस तरह की पूरी दुनिया में हालात चल रहे हैं उसको देखते हुए एक ये सही कदम है प्रधानमंत्री जी का। और मैं कहता हूँ कि लोगों को सहयोग करना चाहिए इस बारे में।
आप सहयोग करेंगे?
जी मैं सहयोग करूँ, मैं खुद ईवी यूज़ करता हूँ।
बिल्कुल। See, definitely what this person gentleman has said is a very good thing, that he is using the electric vehicle EV, and people should also move towards the electronic vehicles and also to promote the EV. Sir, प्रधानमंत्री ने जो अपील की है, कैसे देखते हैं आपकी? फ्यूल का यूज़ कम करें, फॉरेन ट्रेवल ज़्यादा ना करें, गोल्ड ना खरीदें 1 साल तक, कैसे देख रहे हैं इन अपीलों को?
मैम बिल्कुल सही कहा उन्होंने। बिल्कुल अपने देश में जो डॉलर वगैरह वो बचाने के लिए और बाहर के जो हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं वो सब बिल्कुल बहुत बढ़िया कहा उन्होंने। हम सब सहयोग कर रहे हैं।
तो आपको लगता है इससे जो सुधार है वो होगा, या फिर सिचुएशन जो आगे आने वाली है उससे लड़ने के लिए कंट्री को तैयार किया जा रहा है, आप लोगों को, हम सबको तैयार किया जा रहा है?
बिल्कुल मैम, वो कंट्रोल की जाएगी ना वो सिचुएशन को। अब आने वाली सिचुएशन जो बहुत हो सकता है बुरी भी हो सकती है, तो इसीलिए वो पहले से पहले ही प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने कहा है।
Definitely. So, what the Prime Minister has said, and everybody whom we have talked right now, in fact, agreed with what the Prime Minister has said, and also will try to have a conversation with more people. Sir, प्रधानमंत्री ने जो अपील की थी, उसको किस तरीके से देख रहे हैं? कितना ज़रूरी है? क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा अगर आप तेल बचाते हैं तो वो भी एक नेशनल इंटरेस्ट होगा, भारत के लिए होगा, देश के लिए होगा।
चाले।
अच्छा, you have a problem. Okay. सर, कैसे देखते हैं प्रधानमंत्री की अपील को?
किस बारे में?
जो प्रधानमंत्री ने अपील की है कि फ्यूल को कम खर्च करें, फॉरेन ट्रैवल ना करें ज़्यादा, और जिस तरीके से गोल्ड ना खरीदे 1 साल तक, कैसे देख रहे हैं इस अपील को?
हाँ मैडम, ये तो प्रधानमंत्री ने कुछ सोच के ही बोला और लोगों को इस बारे में कुछ सोचना चाहिए, करना चाहिए कुछ। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कुछ कहा है तो कुछ मोटिव होगा इसके पीछे। कोशिश तो करनी चाहिए जहाँ तक हो सके बचत करें अपनी।
प्रधानमंत्री ने ये बोला है कि अगर आप कर सकते हैं तो कार पूलिंग करें, मेट्रो का इस्तेमाल करें, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा यूज़ करें। तो
हाँ जी बिल्कुल करना चाहिए जी। जब जैसे 2 जने इकट्ठे जा रहे हैं वो कार पूलिंग अपना कर सकते हैं, इससे ईंधन की बचत होती है। बिल्कुल सही बात है ये तो मैडम।
So definitely what we are getting on ground, that people agreed and people support what the Prime Minister had said, and in fact they said that they will try to to do what the Prime Minister had said, and even try to avoid unnecessary travel across country or India. Across world.
Thanks for bringing us that report. Let's also go across to Abhishek Singh, who's live from Lucknow outside Sarafa Bazaar, and in fact Nitesh Shukla is also live from Bhopal. We'll get in a sense first of what's happening in Lucknow. Abhishek, you are there. Have you been able to get in a word from people there? How are they responding to Prime Minister's appeal, and whether they think it is timely that these measures were adopted?
Yes, PM Modi has appealed to people that they should not buy gold ornaments for 1 year. And we are in the Sarafa market in a jewelry shop, and we learn from them, of course, from the owners and the business persons of the Sarafa market, and also some of the customers are also here. We will learn from them. क्यों सर सोना चांदी खरीदने आया, पीएम तो मना कर रहा है?
जी बात तो सही है, कल उसका मैंने भाषण सुना। लेकिन कुछ बातें समझ में नहीं आई, क्यों खरीदें क्यों ना खरीदें। हम आम जनता कहाँ तक इसकी गहराई में जा पाएंगे, और ना मुझे इनकी कोई जानकारी, ना हम क्या, हमारे लाखों लोगों को जानकारी नहीं है। लेकिन कुछ आवश्यक चीज़ों की खरीदारी करनी ही पड़ेगी भैया।
जो वो कह रहे हैं ना कि राष्ट्र के नाम है ये जो आप नहीं खरीदेंगे,
तो ठीक है, वो बात ठीक है, राष्ट्र के नाम क्या चीज़ है, कुछ इसकी जानकारी आम जनता को भी तो हो। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी हमारे जो भी कहते हैं हम लोग उसको मानते हैं, उसकी कोई आलोचना नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन कुछ जानकारी मिलेगी क्या हो रहा है, कैसे क्या हो रहा है। खाली सोना ना खरीदना ही एक इसका रास्ता, या कोई और भी चीज़ें हैं क्या, इससे क्या चीज़ें जुड़ी हुई हैं, इसका सार क्या है। सोना खरीदें ना खरीदें वो तो अलग मैटर, क्यों ना खरीदें।
वैश्विक संकट की बात कही जा रही थी। वी आर ऑल्सो गोइंग टू कनेक्ट विथ द ओनर ऑफ द शॉप्स एंड वी विल लर्न फ्रॉम देम व्हाट is the situation, and is the footfall has gone decreased after the appeal of PM Modi? क्यों लोग कम आने लगे हैं, ग्राहक कम हो गए हैं दुकान में, क्या है?
देखिए, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का कोई भी आह्वान होता है तो निश्चय ही उसका
All right, we are getting in that ground report from Lucknow. There are some audio glitches that we have encountered. Let's go to Bhopal, where my colleague Ritesh is reporting from. Ritesh, अब भोपाल में क्या कुछ सिचुएशन है? दिल्ली में लोग हैं जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर के साथ सहमति दिखा रहे हैं. लखनऊ में भी गोल्ड शॉप्स में हम जाएं तो फुटफॉल शायद कम हो गया है. वहाँ भोपाल में क्या सिचुएशन है?
देखिए, भोपाल में भी यही स्थिति है. नरेंद्र मोदी यदि अपील कर रहे हैं प्रधानमंत्री, तो आम जनता बिल्कुल उसकी सहमति जता रही है. चाहे वो ईंधन की बात करें, चाहे सोने की बात करें, या फिर विदेशों में टूर की बात करें, तो जनता अब सहमति जता रही है. और उसको लेकर हमारे साथ यहाँ पर टैक्सी ड्राइवर भी मौजूद हैं. उनसे भी बात करेंगे कि आखिर उनके इस बिजनेस पे कितना इफेक्ट पड़ा है, या इस पर लगातार राइड आ रही हैं, या फिर इनकी बुकिंग आ रही है. इनसे बात करने की भी हम कोशिश करेंगे. भाई साहब, आप गाड़ी चलाते हैं. अब प्रधानमंत्री ने अपील करी है कि पेट्रोल और डीजल कम से कम उपयोग करें. इसको लेकर कोई राइड में कोई कमी या फिर किसी तरीके से आपके व्यापार पे कोई असर?
बिल्कुल पड़ेगा सर. अगर गाड़ी कम डीजल चलाएंगे तो गाड़ी कम चलेगी, और अगर हम कम चलाएंगे तो हमारा खर्चा कैसे निकलेगा? और सरकार ये चाह रही है तो फिर कुछ रेट बढ़ाए टैक्सी के. हम लोगों को कोई बेनिफिट ही नहीं है ना इसका. हमें तो नुकसान ही होगा. हम गाड़ी कम चलाएंगे तो हमारी इनकम कम होगी ना. आज के टाइम में 18,000 20,000 रुपये गाड़ी की इंस्टॉलमेंट है. आदमी किस तरीके से निकालेगा? अगर ये सब करता रहेगा तो बहुत परेशानी होगी आगे चल के हम लोगों को, जिस तरह से जो हो रहा है.
अच्छा, मेरा सवाल आपसे ये था कि आपकी गाड़ियाँ बहुत दूर दूर भी जाती हैं, तो अभी आपके पास जब से अपील करी है तो ट्रैवल के लिए लोग आ रहे हैं यहाँ पर बुकिंग के लिए?
काफ़ी डिमांड कम हो गई है, क्योंकि 2-4-8 दिन से तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि लोग बाहर जाना नहीं चाह रहा ज़्यादातर. अब जैसे आउट स्टेशन की राइडें बहुत आती थी, लेकिन अभी डिमांड भी कम हो गई है उस तरह से बाहर की राइडों की भी.
तो बाहर की राइडों की यदि बात करें तो बाहर की राइडें कम हुई हैं, और कुल मिलाकर कहा जाए तो प्रधानमंत्री की जो अपीलें हैं उसकी लोग सहमति जता रहे हैं. बराबर उसकी सहमति के साथ साथ लोगों ने आना जाना बंद कर दिया है. टूर बेवजह के जो पेट्रोल डीजल के खर्चे थे वो बंद कर दिए हैं. उसके अलावा टैक्सी ड्राइवर उनसे बात हुई है हमारी, उनके व्यापार पर भी कुछ असर देखने को मिला है.
जी नितेश, आपका जुड़ने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Viewers, that's the situation on the ground. Like mixed reactions coming in as far as the situation from across the nation is concerned. In fact, my colleague Shahid Ansari is also live from Mumbai. Shahid, there in Mumbai, how are people responding to Prime Minister's appeal? Whether there's it is evident that the people are adhering to the message that has been sent out.
देखिए, जिस तरह से पीएम मोदी ने अपील की है, ये अपील देश के हर उस देशवासी के लिए है जिन्होंने जो इस देश में रहते हैं या इस देश के बारे में सोचते हैं. पीएम मोदी की ये जो सोच रही है, शायद उन्होंने वक्त के पर्दे को जो है चीर के बहुत आगे तक देख लिया है. और यही वजह है कि उन्होंने जिन बातों की तरफ इशारा किया है या जो हिदायतें दी है, उन हिदायतों को अगर हम देखेंगे तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं कि हो सकता है कि आने वाले समय में जो तैयारी हमें उस वक्त करनी होगी वो अभी से करने की बात उन्होंने की है. हालांकि देखिए, उन्होंने सोना खरीदारी को लेकर और इसके साथ साथ जो है ट्रैवल को लेकर और इसके अलावा खाने के तेल को लेकर इस तरह की बहुत सारी चीज़ें की है कि उनका जो है इस्तेमाल कम किया जाए, वर्क फ्रॉम होम किया जाए, और इससे जो है कहीं ना कहीं जो लोग हैं उनको राहत मिलेगी. हम लोगों से बातचीत करते हैं. पीएम मोदी ने जो अपील की है, इस अपील को आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं?
जो अभी बोले वो
जो ट्रैवल के लिए वर्क फ्रॉम होम.
कुछ नहीं, अभी हम तो ड्राइवर लोग हैं, हमको तो निकलना ही है बाहर. हम तो कुछ बोल ही नहीं सकते.
जैसे उन्होंने कहा है कि लोग जो है ज़्यादा करके जो है ट्रेन से जाएं या वर्क फ्रॉम होम करें, तो उसे आप कैसे देखते हैं?
नहीं, ये तो अच्छी बात है कि ज़्यादातर लोग ट्रेन से, फ्यूल की बचत हो जाएगी. इससे अपने देश का ही फायदा है कि बाहर का करेंसी थोड़ा कम चलन कम हो जाएगा, उससे महंगाई भी कम हो जाएगी. ऐसे मोदी जी तो बोले, देखते हैं अभी क्या होता है.
और भी लोगों से बातचीत करने की कोशिश करते हैं कि किस तरह से जो पीएम मोदी की जो अपील रही है उसको लोग किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं, उनसे पूछते हैं कि वो क्या कहना चाहते हैं। पीएम मोदी की जो अपील रही है इसे आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं? उन्होंने कहा है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम, इसके अलावा ट्रैवल के लिए जो है ट्रेन। पीएम मोदी ने जो बात कही है, जो अपील की है, ओके, तो इस बहुत सारे लोग हैं, हम दूसरे लोगों से बात करते हैं। पीएम मोदी ने जो अपील की है उसे आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं?
मुझे इसका कुछ आइडिया नहीं।
और भी लोगों से बातचीत करने की कोशिश करते हैं, जो लोग हैं उनसे बातचीत करने की कोशिश करते हैं। सर, पीएम मोदी ने जो अपील की है वर्क फ्रॉम होम, देखिए ज़्यादा लोग ऐसे भी हैं कि जो बोलना नहीं चाहते और शायद वो इसको समझ भी नहीं पाए कि पीएम ने जो बात कही है उसे वो जो है क्या वजह है कि वो इस तरह से उन्होंने अपील की है। लोग शायद समझ नहीं पाए या लोगों को पता नहीं है। हम और भी लोग हैं यहाँ सेंट ज़ेवियर्स कॉलेज के पास मौजूद हैं, इनसे पूछने की कोशिश करते हैं कि ये क्या कहना चाहते हैं। पीएम मोदी ने जो अपील की है देश से, उसे आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम करें, ट्रैवल के लिए कोशिश करें, कम ट्रैवल करने के लिए, आप किस नज़रिए से?
जी देखिए सर, कैसा है, वर्क फ्रॉम होम के लिए तो बात सही है, पर जैसे कि हमारा ड्यूटी है, जैसे कि हमें डिपार्टमेंट में घूमना पड़ता है, तो उस रिगार्ड्स में हमको बाहर तो निकलना ही है, उसमें हम कुछ कह नहीं सकते सर। तो देखिए उनका कहना सही है एक जगह पे कि उनको अगर देश की स्थिति सुधारनी है तो उन्होंने उनकी लेवल पे सही कहा है, पर जो आम जनता जो है, आम जनता उस रिगार्ड्स में उनके अपने हिसाब से देखती है काम करने के तरीके से। जहाँ फीसिबल होगा वहाँ वर्क फ्रॉम होम ज़रूर करेंगे, जहाँ नहीं होगा वहाँ करना पड़ेगा सर।
आप मानते हैं इस चीज़ को कि पीएम ने जो अपील की है कहीं ना कहीं वो बहुत आगे तक उन्होंने देख के पहले से उसकी तैयारी शुरू करने के लिए कहा?
जी, उन्होंने आगे कहीं ना कहीं देखा हुआ ऐसा खतरा आने वाला है, जिस हिसाब से उन्होंने देख के उसे कुछ कदम उठाए होंगे सर।
शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। तो इस तरह से जो लोग हैं वो हर एक के जो है मिली जुले बातें, पीएम मोदी ने जो बात कही है, सोना कम खरीदें, ट्रैवल कम करें और वर्क फ्रॉम होम करें, खाने का तेल भी कम इस्तेमाल करें, ये जो 4-5 चीज़ें रही हैं उसे आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं?
एक्चुअली मुझे तो लगता है ये थोड़ा इलेक्शन की वजह से दबा के रखा था। हाँ। अभी इलेक्शन होने के बाद वो ओपन किया है। शॉर्टेज पहले से था। हाँ। सभी लोगों को मालूम था, लेकिन किसी को ओपनली बताया नहीं गया। अभी उसके ऊपर एक्शन लेने का काम।
ऐसा नहीं लगता कि एक तैयारी कहीं ना कहीं हो रही है आने वाले दौर की, आने वाले वक्त में परेशानियां कम हो, उससे पहले ही हम तैयार रहें?
यस यस यस, वैसे ही होगा, क्योंकि अभी तक का जैसे अपना एक्सपीरियंस है कि जैसे नोटबंदी हो गई, जीएसटी आ गया, वैसे ही ये अपने को थोड़ा सा तैयारी करना पड़ेगा ऐसे बोल सकते हैं, क्योंकि ओवरऑल देखा जाए तो सिचुएशन है। जी जी, जितना इंडियन पॉपुलेशन है उसके हिसाब से देखा जाए तो जो रिक्वायरमेंट है और जितना भी अपना सप्लाई चेन है उसके हिसाब से उतना होता है।
तो सुना आपने कि जो लोग हैं वो भी चीज़ों को कुछ न कुछ हद तक समझते हैं। बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग भी देखिए हमको मिले जो इस टॉपिक पे बात भी नहीं करना चाहते या वो जानते ही नहीं। लेकिन जो लोग हैं, ज़्यादातर जो लोग हैं उनकी बातचीत ऐसी है कि अगर हम किसी भी नाजुक हालात की तैयारी पहले से कर लें और पीएम की अपील पर इसका हम साथ दें और हम ये जान लें कि पीएम ने जो बात कही है वो कहीं ना कहीं जो है महसूस किया है उन्होंने, और महसूस करने के बाद उन्होंने देशवासियों से इस बात की अपील की है, तो हम भी क्यों ना जो है उसके साथ तैयारी करें और कदम से कदम मिलाकर चलें। तो इस तरह की बातें जो लोग हैं, पूरे देश के जो लोग हैं, उनको कहीं ना कहीं चीज़ें समझती है। इसलिए हम और भी लोगों से बातचीत करने की कोशिश करेंगे कि वो क्या कहना चाहते हैं। पीएम मोदी की एक अपील रही है, वर्क फ्रॉम होम, सोना कम खरीदें, खाने का तेल कम इस्तेमाल करें।
मिनिस्टर हरदीप सिंह पुरी, who has given out a statement on the current oil situation in India. Let's listen into that first.
Now let me just tell you. Let me. We are 1 minute. We are the uncertainty surrounding the supply disruptions on account of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a process that started on 28th February. We are now into 75th day of that. Let me tell you categorically, we have no supply side problems. Today, the country has more than enough stocks of crude oil, LNG and LPG. When this crisis began, there were some concerns, but we converted the challenge into an opportunity. We have ramped up our domestic production of LPG, which used to be 36,000 metric tons per day. We have now taken it up to 54,000 metric tons per day. All of you live in Delhi or you travel around the country. You must have seen there are no shortages anywhere. Some of my friends tried to say that, oh, some shortage is coming and therefore you should do some buying. That was also short-lived. Today I can tell you that this situation in the last 4 years, there has been no increase in prices. Today we are in a situation, we don't know how long the blockades or counter blockades in the Strait of Hormuz will continue, but I can tell you categorically that today we are in a situation where, unlike other countries in the world, which have had to either face severe problems in terms of availability and supply, or where prices have gone up 50-60%, the Honorable Prime Minister's statement is very visionary. It looks to the future, that if this were to continue, we also have to look at what we can do in terms of lifestyle changes. And I think, as I mentioned in the CII session this morning, I warmly welcome the support that the CII corporate executives have given to that call. There are certain activities which we can curtail. It's not that something is going to happen. That's all negative, panic-creating activity. I can tell you, as somebody who's more involved in this, I review the situation every day along with the CMDs of the oil sector for an hour, hour and a half. My next meeting is at 2 o'clock with them. There is absolutely no cause for anxiety, but we should, going forward, we don't know how long this will take, and also be very clear that this prolongation of this is creating a fiscal strain. My oil companies are losing 1,000 crores a day. Their under recoveries are in the tune of nearly 1,98,000. So we will have to start worrying about these things, and in that we should. Some demand for LPG has come down. It used to be 90,000 metric ton. It has come down to 75. Some of it is because of the temperature. But even otherwise, I think prudent supply and demand side, we have done very well, and I have no reason to believe that we will not do well in the future. But we should, certain activities which can be curtailed without this thing. Please listen to what the Prime Minister said, and it's a very visionary statement. Going forward, we should bear that in mind.
In fact, Abhishek Singh, my colleague, is also reporting from Lucknow. We want to go back to him once again. Abhishek, he was speaking to some of the people there in the gold shop. Talk to us about how they are feeling and reacting to Prime Minister's appeal, and whether there's any change as far as a footfall in these gold shops and jewelry shops is concerned.
Yes, we are in the jewelry shop and we'll learn from them. Is there any change in the footfall? प्रधानमंत्री जी की अपील के बाद दुकान पर कस्टमर्स आ रहे हैं उतने, क्योंकि हम देख रहे थे इक्का दुक्का ही लोग पहुंच रहे हैं।
कस्टमर बहुत कम है, पहले भी ऑलरेडी बहुत कम थे, और प्रधानमंत्री की अपील का कुछ असर ये भी है कि लोग नहीं ले रहे हैं, लेकिन एक सेक्टर को बंद करना या एक सेक्टर पे बात उठाना ये बहुत गलत बात है। और इसमें प्रधानमंत्री जी का हम लोग बहुत सम्मान करते हैं, हम लोग चूँकि भाजपा समर्थक भी हैं, लेकिन एक सेक्टर जो कि हमारी रोजी रोटी है, इसके अलावा इस कस्टमर के साथ साथ हम लोग के जो स्टाफ है उनकी रोजी रोटी होती है, उनका परिवार चलता है। लाखों परिवार जो इस सेक्टर से जुड़े हुए हैं उसका परिवार चलता है। जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज होती हैं जो इस समय काम कर रही हैं, तो वो जो है देखिए वो 8,000 मतलब उनके 8,000 5,000 वर्कर काम करते हैं, लेकिन आप उनका परिवार कैसे चलेगा, इसका भी ध्यान रखना चाहिए। मोदी जी ने बहुत अच्छा कहा है कि लोगों को सोना ना लें। जो सोना आयात हो रहा है, आज चाइना के बाद भारत दूसरे नंबर पे है आयात करने के मामले में, तो लेकिन आप जो सोना आयात कर रहे हैं, जो बुलियन आयात कर रहे हैं, उसको जो उसके फ्रेम में आता है, जो बिस्किट के रूप में आता है, उसको रोक लगाना चाहिए। जेवर से तो कई परिवार चलते हैं।
अपने हाथ में मोदी जी की एक वो भी पकड़ रखी है, छोटी सी प्रतिमा और चांदी की।
मैं मोदी जी का बहुत फॉलोअर भी हूँ और मुझे चूँकि हमें बड़ी खुशी होती है कि देश को ऐसा प्रधानमंत्री मिला जो देश को आगे ले जा रहा है। उनकी अपील बहुत अच्छी है, बस इसको हम लोग इम्प्लीमेंट करने की ज़रूरत है। इसको हम दूसरे रूप में लेते हैं। हम लोग हमेशा रिसाइकिल करते हैं, सोने को रिसाइकिल करा के उसका सामान बना के उसको बेचते हैं। और जो आयात होता है, जो बिस्कुट के रूप में आता है विदेशों से, उस पर रोक लगाना चाहिए गवर्नमेंट को। सिगरेट, शराब और चीज़ें आयातित होती हैं उस पर रोक लगाना चाहिए। और मोदी जी ने जो अपील करी है बहुत अच्छी करी है कि भाई चलो देश का भला होना चाहिए। आगे जो समस्या आ रही है, जो पेट्रोल डीजल की आ रही है, अब क्रूड ऑयल आप कहाँ बनाते हैं? आप क्रूड ऑयल बनाते कहाँ हैं? ये आपको लेना ही पड़ेगा ना, तो अर्थव्यवस्था बिगड़ जाएगी अगर इसको बिल्कुल एकदम से करेंगे। हाँ ठीक है, जैसे कोरोना काल में हम लोगों ने पूरा सहयोग दिया और साथ साथ वैक्सीन भी, और उसके साथ कोरोना काल में शादियों में काफ़ी रोक लगी। 20 लोग होंगे, 15 लोग होंगे, 25 लोग होंगे, तो कुल मिला के ऐसा प्लान करना चाहिए जैसे पहले किया, हम लोग सहयोग दिया तो काफ़ी हद तक पेट्रोल बच जाएगा। देखिए अब जो इसमें खासकर मंत्रियों को और विधायकों को भी सुनना चाहिए, वो भी गाड़ियों से ना चलें, वो पूरा लाव लश्कर लेके चलते हैं, उसको भी सोचना चाहिए। तो पब्लिक के साथ साथ उनको भी अपनाना पड़ेगा। उनको एक
आप लोगों की दुकानों पर असर तो पड़ रहा है, लोग भी बहुत बड़े पैमाने पर जुड़े रहते हैं ना, दुकानों से भी एक छोटा सा भी जेवर बनता है तो उसको जोड़ने के लिए, पॉलिश करने के लिए तमाम लोग,
बहुत लोग। आप समझिए एक अंगूठी आपके हाथ में आती है या एक चेन आपके हाथ में आती है, तो उसको बनाने के लिए कारीगर होते हैं, उसके अलावा उसके नीचे सम कारीगर होते हैं, उनको वो पॉलिश वाले होते हैं, गलाई वाले अलग होते हैं, पकाई वाले अलग होते हैं, तो नग जड़ाने वाले अलग होते हैं। उन सब परिवारों का सोचिए, लाखों परिवार उससे जुड़े हैं। मान लिया उसका डिब्बा डिब्बी हम देते हैं तो उसका प्लास्टिक का उसका डिब्बी बनाते हैं या उसको डिब्बा डिब्बी देते हैं, तो उसमें लाखों परिवार जुड़े होते हैं। इस तरह हाँ, जो केस जिसको आप बोलते हैं, जो आप लोग को हम लोग देते हैं गिफ्ट में रूप में कि अंगूठी के साथ में केस दिया, तो उस तरह से और भी कई तरह। अब एक कस्टमर जो शादियाँ उसके घर में हैं, अब उसको अंगूठी देनी है, चेन देनी है, तो बिल्कुल आप हम बैठे हैं क्या शादी है, तो वो समझ लीजिए कि अब इनको मजबूरी है।
We'll just connect with one of the customers also is here in the shop. We'll just learn from
Abhishek, we're unfortunately running short on time. Viewers, it's time for a very quick break. We'll be right back. That is the situation on the ground, like across cities in the nation after Prime Minister's appeal. We'll continue to track the developments and be right back. Stay tuned.
नए भारत का नया उत्तर प्रदेश पूरे देश में कनेक्टिविटी के क्षेत्र में रोल मॉडल बन गया है। विगत 9 वर्षों में रोड कनेक्टिविटी से लेकर एयर कनेक्टिविटी और मेट्रो से लेकर रेल कनेक्टिविटी में यूपी नंबर 1 है। प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी के मार्गदर्शन और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ के सतत प्रयासों से उत्तर प्रदेश विगत 9 वर्षों में सर्वाधिक एक्सप्रेस वे वाला प्रदेश बन गया है। सर्वाधिक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय एवं घरेलू एयरपोर्ट्स के साथ उड्डयन प्रदेश बन गया है। सर्वाधिक शहरों में मेट्रो यहां दौड़ती है। रैपिड रेल पहली बार यूपी में ही चली है। पहला इनलैंड वाटरवे वाराणसी से हल्दिया को जोड़ता है। स्वर्णिम संभावनाओं के खुले द्वार, समृद्धि की डबल इंजन रफ्तार।
सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप, MDH का जल जीरा जीरा सिप, जीरा सिप जीरा सिप, प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा सिप, MDH का जल जीरा जीरा सिप।
जीरा सिप, असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के मार्गदर्शन और मुख्यमंत्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी के कुशल नेतृत्व में आत्मनिर्भर हो रहे हैं किसान और बन रही है उन्नत और जैविक प्रदेश की पहचान। सरकार की कल्याणकारी योजनाओं से प्रदेश भर में किसान परंपरागत कृषि की ओर लौटे हैं और साथ में लौटी है आय में बढ़ोतरी और उत्पादों में पौष्टिकता। परंपरागत कृषि विकास योजना और नमामि गंगे योजना के अंतर्गत 300 से ज्यादा जैविक आउटलेट स्थापित किए गए हैं। प्रदेश भर में 4000 से ज्यादा जैविक क्लस्टर संचालित किए जा रहे हैं, जो करीब 2.5 लाख हेक्टेयर भूमि पर 100% जैविक कृषि कर रहे हैं। लघु, सीमांत और महिला किसानों तक कृषि यंत्रों की पहुंच बढ़ाने हेतु पर्वतीय क्षेत्रों में 3400 से ज्यादा फार्म मशीनरी बैंक और मैदानी क्षेत्रों में 313 कस्टम हायरिंग सेंटर स्थापित किए जा चुके हैं। नेशनल मिशन ऑन नेचुरल फार्मिंग के तहत प्रदेश के 11 जनपदों के 10,000 हेक्टेयर क्षेत्र में 200 नए क्लस्टर बनाए जा रहे हैं। उत्तराखंड में मौसम आधारित फसल बीमा योजना के तहत किसान दिवस पर 88,000 किसानों के खाते में 65 करोड़ रुपए का मुआवजा प्रदान किया गया है। किसानों को आत्मनिर्भर और स्वावलंबी बनाने के लिए पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि योजना के अंतर्गत करीब 8 लाख किसानों को 162 करोड़ रुपए डीबीटी के माध्यम से प्रदान किए गए हैं। विकसित कृषि संकल्प अभियान के तहत कृषि को लाभकारी, टिकाऊ और जलवायु अनुकूल बनाने पर जोर दिया जा रहा है। उत्तराखंड में सरकार के अथक प्रयास से तय हो रहे हैं नए आयाम, मिल रहा है सम्मान और आत्मनिर्भर हुए हैं किसान।
घिसते, तोड़ते, कुटते, गिरते, नानी दादी का नाम याद आता है।
हमको तो एक ही नाम याद आता है, NDH शाही पनीर मसाला।
पनीर को क्या मस्त बना डाला।
NDH का असली शाही पनीर मसाला,
वो असली मसाले सच सच NDH।
Hello and a very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching Newsx and I'm Kriti Mehta. We'll start with a check of the top headlines this hour. Congress is likely to announce the chief ministerial phase for Kerala today. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge to meet formal Keralam Congress presidents to finalize the decision. Himanta Biswa Sarma takes oath today as Assam's chief minister for the second time. Prime Minister Modi, US Ambassador Sergio Gore attend the ceremony. West Bengal Chief Election Officer Manoj Kumar Agarwal has been appointed the Chief Secretary of West Bengal. Decision comes as Suvendu Adhikari allotted portfolios among the 5 ministers who took oath with him. Nashik TCS religious conversion case accused Nida Khan has been sent to judicial custody for 14 days. Officials confirm questioning is underway. Shocking news emerges from the national capital. 2 women alleged racially charged assault by 7 men outside the Nehru Place Club. Police registers FIR after recovering CCTV. Punjab's Aam Aadmi Party government reallots portfolios previously held by Minister Sanjeev Arora after his arrest. Portfolio distributed among Aman Arora, Harjot Singh Bens and Tarunpreet Sood. American passengers evacuated from the hantavirus-hit cruise ship MV Honduras. They've arrived in Omaha, Nebraska for specialized quarantine and medical monitoring. US media reports Pakistan allowed Iran to park military aircraft, including the RC-130, on its airfields despite mediator role in conflict with the US, potentially shielding them from American airstrikes. And viewers, on to our top focus now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged Indians to adopt voluntary austerity measures amid rising global oil prices. triggered by West Asia tension, aiming to cut fuel imports, conserve foreign exchange, and promote a self-reliance. In his recent addresses, he outlined 7 key appeals. Prioritize work from home to reduce commuting, avoid gold purchases for a year, cut petrol and diesel use by opting for public transport, carpooling and EVs, reduce consumption of imported cooking oils, shift from chemical fertilizers to natural farming, prefer Swadeshi over foreign branded products, and minimize non-essential foreign travel along with lavish destination weddings. Framed as a nation-first collective effort. Let's in fact go across to Arzu Seth, my colleague who's reporting live from Delhi. Will get in a sense of how the situation there at petrol pumps currently are. Arzu, if you're connected with us, take us through the situation on the ground.
Well, definitely, the Prime Minister has urged the citizen to cut the use of fuel. And in fact, apart from that, he also urged people to promote the work from home culture and also to hold online meetings and also to avoid foreign travels. All these things have been urged amid the conflict or tension that is happening in the world. And right now, I'm present at a petrol pump and will directly go across the public to understand, because we also earlier talked with some of the people, and they have said they will be doing what is in the national interest. On the other side, the people also conscious and worried about why Prime Minister has said something like that. So we'll directly go across the public to understand how they see the Prime Minister appeal. सर, हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं, प्रधानमंत्री ने कल जो अपील की है कि फ्यूल को कम इस्तेमाल करें, वर्क फ्रॉम होम करें, ऑनलाइन मीटिंग करें, प्रधानमंत्री की इस अपील को कैसे देखते हैं जिस तरीके से टेंशन चल रही है वर्ल्ड में?
उन्होंने जो बोला है ठीक ही बोला है, वो पूरे देश को चला रहे हैं, बाकी देखते हैं इसका क्या इफेक्ट पड़ता है, लेकिन ज़रूरी काम के लिए तो जाना ही पड़ेगा ना।
तो आप लोग सहयोग करेंगे? अगर
बिल्कुल सहयोग करेंगे, प्रधानमंत्री के साथ हैं हम।
बिल्कुल। So definitely we can hear the sentiment or what the people has to say, that they will be with the Prime Minister, what the Prime Minister has said. प्रधानमंत्री ने जो अपील की है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम का कल्चर को बढ़ावा दें ताकि फ्यूल की बचत हो सके, क्योंकि दाम नहीं बढ़ाए जा रहे हैं इंडिया में, बाकी आप देशों में देखिए रेट बहुत बढ़ गए। किस तरीके से देख रहे हैं प्रधानमंत्री की अपील?
मेरी नज़र में तो एक ये सही बात है, क्योंकि जिस तरह की पूरी दुनिया में हालात चल रहे हैं उसको देखते हुए एक ये सही कदम है प्रधानमंत्री जी का, और मैं कहता हूँ कि लोगों को सहयोग करना चाहिए इस बारे में।
आप सहयोग करेंगे?
जी मैं सहयोग करूँ, मैं खुद ईवी यूज़ करता हूँ।
बिल्कुल। See, definitely what this gentleman has said is a very good thing, that he is using the electric vehicle, EV, and people should also move towards the electronic vehicles and also to promote the EV. सर, प्रधानमंत्री ने जो अपील की है कैसे देखते हैं आपकी? फ्यूल का यूज़ कम करें, फॉरेन ट्रेवल ज़्यादा ना करें, गोल्ड ना खरीदें 1 साल तक, कैसे देख रहे हैं इन अपीलों को?
मैम बिल्कुल सही कहा उन्होंने। बिल्कुल अपने देश में जो डॉलर वगैरह वो बचाने के लिए और बाहर के जो हम इंपोर्ट करते हैं वो सब बिल्कुल बहुत बढ़िया कहा उन्होंने। हम सब सहयोग कर रहे हैं।
तो आपको लगता है इससे जो सुधार है वो होगा, या फिर सिचुएशन जो आगे आने वाली है उससे लड़ने के लिए कंट्री को तैयार किया जा रहा है, आप लोगों को, हम सबको तैयार किया जा रहा है?
बिल्कुल मैम, वो कंट्रोल की जाएगी ना वो सिचुएशन को। अब आने वाली सिचुएशन जो बहुत हो सकता है बुरी भी हो सकती है, तो इसीलिए वो पहले से पहले ही प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने कहा है।
Definitely. So, what the Prime Minister has said, and everybody whom we have talked right now, in fact, agreed with what the Prime Minister has said, and also will try to have a conversation with more people. Sir, प्रधानमंत्री ने जो अपील की थी, उसको किस तरीके से देख रहे हैं? कितना ज़रूरी है? क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा अगर आप तेल बचाते हैं तो वो भी एक नेशनल इंटरेस्ट होगा, भारत के लिए होगा, देश के लिए होगा। अच्छा, you have a problem. Okay. सर, कैसे देखते हैं प्रधानमंत्री की अपील को?
किस बारे में?
आज जो प्रधानमंत्री ने अपील की है कि फ्यूल को कम खर्च करें, फॉरेन ट्रैवल ना करें ज़्यादा, और जिस तरीके से गोल्ड ना खरीदे 1 साल तक, कैसे देखते हैं इस अपील को?
हाँ मैडम, ये तो प्रधानमंत्री ने कुछ सोच के बोला और लोगों को इस बारे में कुछ सोचना चाहिए, करना चाहिए कुछ। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कुछ कहा है तो कुछ मोटिव होगा इसके पीछे। कोशिश तो करनी चाहिए, जहाँ तक हो सके बचत करें अपनी।
प्रधानमंत्री ने ये बोला है कि अगर आप कर सकते हैं तो कार पूलिंग करें, मेट्रो का इस्तेमाल करें, पब्लिक ट्रांसपोर्ट को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा यूज़ करें। तो
हाँ जी बिल्कुल करना चाहिए जी। जब जैसे 2 जने इकट्ठे जा रहे हो वो कार पूलिंग अपना कर सकते हैं, इससे ईंधन की बचत होती है। बिल्कुल सही बात है ये तो मैडम।
So definitely what we are getting on ground that people agreed and people support what the Prime Minister had said, and in fact they said that they will try to to do what the Prime Minister had said and even try to avoid unnecessary travel across country or India. Across world.
Thanks for bringing us that report. Let's also go across to Abhishek Singh, who's live from Lucknow outside Sarafa Bazaar, and in fact Nitesh Shukla is also live from Bhopal. We'll get in a sense first of what's happening in Lucknow. Abhishek, you are there. Have you been able to get in a word from people there? How are they responding to Prime Minister's appeal, and whether they think it is timely that these measures were adopted?
Yes, PM Modi has appealed to people that they should not buy gold ornaments from 1 year. And we are in the Sarafa market in a jewelry shop, and we learn from them, of course, from the owners and the business persons of the Sarafa market, and also some of the customers are also here. We will learn from them. क्यों सर सोना चांदी खरीदने आया, पीएम तो मना कर रहा है?
जी बात तो सही है, कल उसका मैंने भाषण सुना। लेकिन कुछ बातें समझ में नहीं आई, क्यों खरीदें क्यों ना खरीदें। हम आम जनता कहाँ तक इसकी गहराई में जा पाएंगे, और ना मुझे इनकी कोई जानकारी, ना हम क्या, हमारे लाखों लोगों को जानकारी नहीं है। लेकिन कुछ आवश्यक चीज़ों की खरीदारी करनी ही पड़ेगी भैया।
जो वो कह रहे हैं ना कि राष्ट्र के नाम है ये, जो आप नहीं खरीदेंगे।
तो ठीक है, वो बात ठीक है, राष्ट्र के नाम क्या चीज़ है, कुछ इसकी जानकारी आम जनता को भी तो हो। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी हमारे जो भी कहते हैं हम लोग उसको मानते हैं, उसकी कोई आलोचना नहीं करते हैं, लेकिन कुछ जानकारी मिलेगी क्या हो रहा है, कैसे क्या हो रहा है। खाली सोना ना खरीदना ही एक इसका रास्ता, या कोई और भी चीज़ें हैं क्या, किससे इससे क्या चीज़ें जुड़ी हुई हैं, इसका सार क्या है। सोना खरीदें ना खरीदें वो तो अलग मैटर, क्यों ना खरीदें।
वैश्विक संकट की बात कही जा रही थी। वी आर ऑल्सो गोइंग टू कनेक्ट विथ द ओनर ऑफ द शॉप्स एंड विल लर्न फ्रॉम देम व्हाट is the situation, and is the footfall has gone decreased after the appeal of PM Modi? क्यों लोग कम आने लगे हैं, ग्राहक कम हो गए हैं दुकान में, क्या है?
देखिए, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का कोई भी आह्वान होता है तो निश्चय ही उसका
All right, we are getting in that ground report from Lucknow. There are some audio glitches that we have encountered. Let's go to Bhopal, where my colleague Ritesh is reporting from. Ritesh, अब भोपाल में क्या कुछ सिचुएशन है? दिल्ली में लोग हैं जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर के साथ सहमति दिखा रहे हैं, लखनऊ में भी गोल्ड शॉप्स में हम जाएं तो फुटफॉल शायद कम हो गया है। वहाँ भोपाल में क्या सिचुएशन है?
देखिए, भोपाल में भी यही स्थिति है। नरेंद्र मोदी यदि अपील कर रहे हैं प्रधानमंत्री, तो आम जनता बिल्कुल उसकी सहमति जता रही है, चाहे वो ईंधन की बात करें, चाहे सोने की बात करें, या फिर विदेशों में टूर की बात करें, तो जनता अब सहमति जता रही है। और उसको लेकर हमारे साथ यहाँ पर टैक्सी ड्राइवर भी मौजूद हैं, हम उनसे भी बात करेंगे कि आखिर उनके इस बिजनेस पे कितना इफेक्ट पड़ा है, या इस पर लगातार राइड आ रही हैं, या फिर इनकी बुकिंग आ रही है। इनसे बात करने की भी हम कोशिश करेंगे। भाई साहब, आप गाड़ी चलाते हैं, आप प्रधानमंत्री ने अपील करी है कि पेट्रोल और डीजल कम से कम उपयोग करें, इसको लेकर कोई राइड में कोई कमी या फिर किसी तरीके से आपके व्यापार पे कोई असर?
बिल्कुल पड़ेगा सर। अगर गाड़ी कम डीजल चलाएंगे तो गाड़ी कम चलेगी, और अगर हम कम चलाएंगे तो हमारा खर्चा कैसे निकलेगा। और सरकार ये चाह रही है तो फिर कुछ रेट बढ़ाए टैक्सी के, हम लोगों को कोई बेनिफिट ही नहीं है ना इसका, हमें तो नुकसान ही होगा। हम गाड़ी कम चलाएंगे तो हमारी इनकम कम होगी ना। आज के टाइम में 18,000 20,000 रुपये गाड़ी की इंस्टॉलमेंट है, आदमी किस तरीके से निकालेगा? अगर ये सब करता रहेगा तो बहुत परेशानी होगी आगे चल के हम लोगों को, जिस तरह से जो हो रहा है।
अच्छा, मेरा सवाल आपसे ये था कि आपकी गाड़ियाँ बहुत दूर दूर भी जाती हैं, तो अभी आपके पास जब से अपील करी है तो ट्रैवल के लिए लोग आ रहे हैं यहाँ पर बुकिंग के लिए?
काफ़ी डिमांड कम हो गई है, क्योंकि 2-4 दिन से तो ऐसा लग रहा है कि लोग बाहर जाना नहीं चाह रहा ज़्यादातर। अब जैसे आउट स्टेशन की राइडें बहुत आती थी, लेकिन अभी डिमांड भी कम हो गई है उस तरह से बाहर की राइडों की भी।
तो बाहर की राइडों की यदि बात करें तो बाहर की राइडें कम हुई हैं, और कुल मिलाकर कहा जाए तो प्रधानमंत्री की जो अपीलें हैं उसकी लोग सहमति जता रहे हैं। बराबर उसकी सहमति के साथ साथ लोगों ने आना जाना बंद कर दिया है। टूर बेवजह के जो पेट्रोल डीजल के खर्चे थे वो बंद कर दिए हैं। उसके अलावा टैक्सी ड्राइवर उनसे बात हुई है हमारी, उनके व्यापार पे भी कुछ असर देखने को मिला है।
जी नितेश, आपका जुड़ने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। व्यूअर्स, दैट्स द सिचुएशन ऑन द ग्राउंड, लाइक मिक्स्ड रिएक्शंस कमिंग इन as far as the situation from across the nation is concerned. In fact, my colleague Shahid Ansari is also live from Mumbai. Shahid, there in Mumbai, how are people responding to Prime Minister's appeal? Whether there's it is evident that the people are adhering to the message that has been sent out.
देखिए, जिस तरह से पीएम मोदी ने अपील की है, ये अपील देश के हर उस देशवासी के लिए है जिन्होंने जो इस देश में रहते हैं या इस देश के बारे में सोचते हैं। पीएम मोदी की ये जो सोच रही है, शायद उन्होंने वक्त के पर्दे को जो है चीर के बहुत आगे तक देख लिया है, और यही वजह है कि उन्होंने जिन बातों की तरफ इशारा किया है या जो हिदायतें दी है, उन हिदायतों को अगर हम देखेंगे तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं कि हो सकता है कि आने वाले समय में जो तैयारी हमें उस वक्त करनी होगी वो अभी से करने की बात उन्होंने की है। हालांकि देखिए, उन्होंने सोना खरीदारी को लेकर और इसके साथ साथ जो है ट्रैवल को लेकर और इसके अलावा खाने के तेल को लेकर इस तरह की बहुत सारी चीज़ें की है कि उनका जो है इस्तेमाल कम किया जाए, वर्क फ्रॉम होम किया जाए, और इससे जो है कहीं ना कहीं जो लोग हैं उनको राहत मिलेगी। हम लोगों से बातचीत करते हैं। पीएम मोदी ने जो अपील की है, इस अपील को आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं?
जो अभी बोले वो
जो ट्रैवल के लिए वर्क फ्रॉम होम।
हाँ, कुछ नहीं। अभी हम तो ड्राइवर लोग हैं, हमको तो निकलना ही है बाहर। हम तो कुछ बोल ही नहीं सकते।
जैसे उन्होंने कहा है कि लोग जो है ज़्यादा करके जो है ट्रेन से जाएं या वर्क फ्रॉम होम करें, तो उसे आप कैसे देखते हैं?
नहीं, ये तो अच्छी बात है कि ज़्यादातर लोग ट्रेन से, फ्यूल की बचत हो जाएगी। इससे अपने देश का ही फायदा है कि बाहर का करेंसी थोड़ा कम चलन कम हो जाएगा, उससे महंगा भी कम हो जाएगी। ऐसे मोदी जी तो बोले, देखते हैं अभी क्या होता है।
और भी लोगों से बातचीत करने की कोशिश करते हैं कि किस तरह से जो पीएम मोदी की जो अपील रही है उसको लोग किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं, उनसे पूछते हैं कि वो क्या कहना चाहते हैं। पीएम मोदी की जो अपील रही है, इसे आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं? उन्होंने कहा है कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम, इसके अलावा ट्रैवल के लिए जो है ट्रेन। पीएम मोदी ने जो बात कही है, जो अपील की है, ओके, तो इस बहुत सारे लोग हैं, हम दूसरे लोगों से बात करते हैं। पीएम मोदी ने जो अपील की है उसे आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं?
मुझे इसका कुछ आइडिया नहीं।
और भी लोगों से बातचीत करने की कोशिश करते हैं, जो लोग हैं उनसे बातचीत करने की कोशिश करते हैं। सर, पीएम मोदी ने जो अपील की है वर्क फ्रॉम होम, देखिए ज़्यादा लोग ऐसे भी हैं कि जो बोलना नहीं चाहते और शायद वो इसको समझ भी नहीं पाए कि पीएम ने जो बात कही है उसे वो जो है क्या वजह है कि वो इस तरह से उन्होंने अपील की है। लोग शायद समझ नहीं पाए या लोगों को पता नहीं है। हम और भी लोग हैं यहाँ सेंट ज़ेवियर्स कॉलेज के पास मौजूद हैं, इनसे पूछने की कोशिश करते हैं कि ये क्या कहना चाहते हैं। पीएम मोदी ने जो अपील की है देश से, उसे आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं कि वर्क फ्रॉम होम करें, ट्रैवल के लिए कोशिश करें, कम ट्रैवल करने के लिए, आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं?
जी देखिए सर, कैसा है, वर्क फ्रॉम होम के लिए तो बात सही है, जैसे कि हमारा ड्यूटी है, जो कि हमें डिपार्टमेंट में घूमना पड़ता है, तो उस रिगार्ड्स में हमको बाहर तो निकलना ही है, उसमें कुछ कह नहीं सकते सर। तो देखिए, उनका कहना सही है एक जगह पे कि उनको अगर देश की स्थिति सुधारनी है तो उन्होंने उनकी लेवल पे सही कहा है, पर जो आम जनता जो है, आम जनता उस रिगार्ड में उनसे अपने साथ भी देखती है काम करने के तरीके से। जहाँ फीसिबल होगा वहाँ वर्क फ्रॉम होम ज़रूर करेंगे, जहाँ नहीं होगा वहाँ करना पड़ेगा सर।
आप मानते हैं इस चीज़ को कि पीएम ने जो अपील की है कहीं ना कहीं वो बहुत आगे तक उन्होंने देख के पहले से उसकी तैयारी शुरू करने के लिए कहा?
जी, उन्होंने आगे कहीं ना कहीं देखा हुआ ऐसा खतरा आने वाला है, जिस हिसाब से उन्होंने देख के उसी कुछ कदम उठाए होंगे सर।
शुक्रिया हमसे बात करने के लिए। तो इस तरह से जो लोग हैं वो हर एक के जो है मिली जुले बातें। पीएम मोदी ने जो बात कही है, सोना कम खरीदें, ट्रैवल कम करें और वर्क फ्रॉम होम करें, खाने का तेल भी कम इस्तेमाल करेंगे, जो 4-5 चीज़ें रही हैं उसे आप किस नज़रिए से देखते हैं?
एक्चुअली मुझे तो लगता है ये थोड़ा इलेक्शन की वजह से दबा के रखा था। अभी इलेक्शन होने के बाद वो ओपन किया है। शॉर्टेज पहले से था, सभी लोगों को मालूम था, लेकिन किसी को ओपनली बताया नहीं गया। अभी उसके ऊपर एक्शन लेने का काम चल रहा है।
ऐसा नहीं लगता कि एक तैयारी कहीं ना कहीं हो रही है आने वाले दौर की, आने वाले वक्त में परेशानियां कम हो उससे पहले ही हम तैयार रहें?
यस यस यस, वैसे ही होगा, क्योंकि अभी तक का जैसे अपना एक्सपीरियंस है कि जैसे नोटबंदी हो गई, जीएसटी आ गया, वैसे ही ये अपने को थोड़ा सा तैयारी करना पड़ेगा ऐसे बोल सकते हैं, क्योंकि ओवरऑल देखा जाए तो सिचुएशन है जितना इंडियन पॉपुलेशन है उसके हिसाब से देखा जाए तो जो रिक्वायरमेंट है और जितना भी अपना सप्लाई चेन है उसके हिसाब से उतना होता है।
तो सुना आपने कि जो लोग हैं वो भी चीज़ों को कुछ न कुछ हद तक समझते हैं। बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग भी देखिए हमको मिले जो इस टॉपिक पे बात भी नहीं करना चाहते या वो जानते ही नहीं, लेकिन जो लोग हैं ज़्यादातर जो लोग हैं उनकी बातचीत ऐसी है कि अगर हम किसी भी नाजुक हालात की तैयारी पहले से कर लें और पीएम की अपील पर इसका हम साथ दें और हम ये जान लें कि पीएम ने जो बात कही है वो कहीं ना कहीं जो है महसूस किया है उन्होंने, और महसूस करने के बाद उन्होंने देशवासियों से इस बात की अपील की है, तो हम भी क्यों ना जो है उसके साथ तैयारी करें और कदम से कदम मिलाकर चलें। तो इस तरह की बातें जो लोग हैं पूरे देश के जो लोग हैं उनको कहीं ना कहीं चीज़ें समझती है, इसलिए हम और भी लोगों से बातचीत करने की कोशिश करेंगे कि वो क्या कहना चाहते हैं। पीएम मोदी की एक अपील रही है, वर्क फ्रॉम होम, सोना कम खरीदें, खाने का तेल कम इस्तेमाल करें।
Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, who has given out a statement on the current oil situation in India. Let's listen into that first.
Now let me just tell you. We are 1 minute. We are the uncertainty surrounding the supply disruptions on account of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a process that started on 28th February. We are now into 75th day of that. Let me tell you categorically, we have no supply side problems. Today, the country has more than enough stocks of crude oil, LNG and LPG. When this crisis began, there were some concerns, but we converted the challenge into an opportunity. We have ramped up our domestic production of LPG, which used to be 36,000 metric tons per day. We have now taken it up to 54,000 metric tons per day. All of you live in Delhi or you travel around the country, you must have seen there are no shortages anywhere. Some of my friends tried to say that, oh, some shortage is coming and therefore you should do some buying. That was also short-lived. Today I can tell you that this situation in the last 4 years, there has been no increase in prices. Today we are in a situation, we don't know how long the blockades or counter blockades in the Strait of Hormuz will continue, but I can tell you categorically that today we are in a situation where, unlike other countries in the world, which have had to either face severe problems in terms of availability and supply, or where prices have gone up 50-60%, the Honorable Prime Minister's statement is very visionary. It looks to the future, that if this were to continue, we also have to look at what we can do in terms of lifestyle changes. And I think, as I mentioned in the CII session this morning, I warmly welcome the support that the CII corporate executives have given to that call. There are certain activities which we can curtail. It's not that something is going to happen. That's all negative, panic-creating activity. I can tell you, as somebody who's more involved in this, I review the situation every day along with the CMDs of the oil sector for an hour and a half. My next meeting is at 2 o'clock with them. There is absolutely no cause for anxiety, but we should, going forward, we don't know how long this will take, and also be very clear that this prolongation of this is creating a fiscal strain. My oil companies are losing 1,000 crores a day. Their under recoveries are in the tune of nearly 1,98,000. So we will have to start worrying about these things, and in that we should. Some demand for LPG has come down. It used to be 90,000 metric ton. It has come down to 75. Some of it is because of the temperature. But even otherwise, I think prudent supply and demand side, we have done very well, and I have no reason to believe that we will not do well in the future. But we should, certain activities which can be curtailed without this thing, please listen to what the Prime Minister said, and it's a very visionary statement going forward. We should bear that in mind.
In fact, Abhishek Singh, my colleague, is also reporting from Lucknow. We want to go back to him once again. Abhishek, you were speaking to some of the people there in the gold shop. Talk to us about how they are feeling and reacting to Prime Minister's appeal, and whether there's any change as far as a footfall in these gold shops and jewelry shops is concerned.
Yes, we are in the jewelry shop and we'll learn from them. Is there any change in the footfall? प्रधानमंत्री जी की अपील के बाद दुकान पर कस्टमर्स आ रहे हैं उतने, क्योंकि हम देख रहे थे इक्का दुक्का ही लोग पहुंच रहे हैं।
कस्टमर बहुत कम है, पहले भी ऑलरेडी बहुत कम थे, और प्रधानमंत्री की अपील का कुछ असर ये भी है कि लोग नहीं ले रहे हैं। लेकिन एक सेक्टर को बंद करना या एक सेक्टर पे बात उठाना ये बहुत गलत बात है, और इसमें प्रधानमंत्री जी का हम लोग बहुत सम्मान करते हैं। हम लोग चूँकि भाजपा समर्थक भी हैं, लेकिन एक सेक्टर जो कि हमारी रोजी रोटी है, उसके अलावा इस कस्टमर के साथ साथ हम लोग के जो स्टाफ है उनकी रोजी रोटी होती है, उनका परिवार चलता है। लाखों परिवार जो इस सेक्टर से जुड़े हुए हैं उसका परिवार चलता है। जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज होती हैं जो इस समय काम कर रही हैं, तो वो जो है देखिए वो 8,000 मतलब उनके 8,000 5,000 वर्कर काम करते हैं, लेकिन आप उनका परिवार कैसे चलेगा, इसका भी ध्यान रखना चाहिए। मोदी जी ने बहुत अच्छा कहा है कि लोगों को सोना ना लें। जो सोना आयात हो रहा है, आज चाइना के बाद भारत दूसरे नंबर पे है आयात करने के मामले में, तो लेकिन आप जो सोना आयात कर रहे हैं, जो बुलियन आयात कर रहे हैं, उसको जो उसके फ्रेम में आता है, जो बिस्किट के रूप में आता है, उसको रोक लगाना चाहिए। जेवर से तो कई परिवार चलते हैं।
आपने हाथ में मोदी जी की एक वो भी पकड़ रखी है, छोटी सी प्रतिमा और चांदी की।
मैं मोदी जी का बहुत फॉलोअर भी हूँ, और मुझे चूँकि हमें बड़ी खुशी होती है कि देश को ऐसा प्रधानमंत्री मिला जो देश को आगे ले जा रहा है। उनकी अपील बहुत अच्छी है, बस इसको हम लोग इम्प्लीमेंट करने की ज़रूरत है। इसको हम दूसरे रूप में लेते हैं, हम लोग हमेशा रिसाइकिल करते हैं, सोने को रिसाइकिल।
Hello and a very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching Newsx. I'm Kriti Mehta. Let's take a check of the top headlines first. Congress is likely to announce the chief ministerial phase for Kerala tomorrow. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge meet formal Kerala Congress presidents to finalize the decision. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma takes oath today for the second time. Prime Minister Modi, US Ambassador Sergio Gore attend the ceremony. West Bengal Chief Electoral Officer Manoj Kumar Agarwal has been appointed the Chief Secretary of West Bengal. Decision comes as Suvendu Adhikari allotted portfolios among the 5 ministers who took oath with him. Nashik TCS religious conversion case accused Nida Khan has been sent to judicial custody for 14 days. Officials confirm questioning underway. Shocking news emerges from the national capital. 2 women alleged racially charged assault by 5 men outside the Nehru Place Club. Police register FIR after recovering CCTV. Punjab's Aam Aadmi Party government reallots portfolios previously held by Minister Sanjeev Arora after his arrest. Portfolio distributed among Aman Arora, Harjot Singh Bens and Tarunpreet Sood. American passengers evacuated from the hantavirus-hit cruise ship MV Hondius have now arrived in Omaha, Nebraska. for specialized quarantine and medical monitoring. US media reports Pakistan allowed Iran to park military aircraft, including the RC-130, on its airfields, despite mediator role in conflict with the US, potentially shielding them from American airstrikes. And our viewers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged Indians to adopt voluntary austerity measures in view of the rising global oil prices triggered by tension in West Asia, with the aim of reducing fuel imports, conserving foreign exchange and promoting self-reliance. In his recent addresses, he made 7 key appeals, which is prioritizing work from home to minimize commuting and also avoiding gold purchases for at least a year, cutting petrol and diesel consumption by opting for public transport, carpooling and electric vehicles, reducing the use of imported cooking oils, shifting from chemical fertilizers to natural farming, preferring Swadeshi products over foreign brands, and minimizing non-essential foreign travel as well as lavish destination weddings. He framed these steps as a collective nation-first effort towards building economic resilience through mindful consumption and self-discipline. With that, let's also take a look at how global media is reporting recession right now. Let's go across to a plasma screen. This is the news from Business Insider. It says Goldman Sachs just dialed back its recession odds on signs of wartime economic resilience. Goldman Sachs thinks the odds of a recession have come down. The Iran war remains unresolved, but the reality is that oil hasn't gone as high as some forecasters predicted, while the US economy remains on solid footing. So as per Business Insider, Goldman Sachs is reporting the US economy still remains resilient despite waging the war with Iran. Let's see how other media portals are reporting. CNBC says it is saying, Whirlpool says Iran war causing recession level industry decline. The shares are down 12%. So Whirlpool shares are down by 12%. Of course, this is being accredited to the war. Whirlpool shares have tumbled Thursday as per the report from CNBC. Also taking a look at how New York Post has reported global recession. Again, says Whirlpool shares have dropped 20%, so from 12% to 20% decline, as appliance giant warns consumer sentiment at recession level lows on Iran war. So there are some fears within some sectors that there may be signs of recession. Those reports are contradictory as of now. CNBC also says there's misplaced euphoria. Markets are sleepwalking into a recession amid Iran war oil price shock. So there are apprehensions that the world economy, particularly starting from the United States, may be looking at recession, as some industries, like it says, are sleepwalking into recession. Risk in the credit markets has received a lot of attention in 2026, from fears about private credit stress to the head of the nation's biggest bank, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon, warning this week about that. Moving ahead now, central banks have also risked a recession by raising rates to tackle Iran oil shocks. This is as per strategists, and the report has been quoted by CNBC. Central bank risks a global recession by raising interest rates in a bid to contain soaring energy costs, as per an analysis. So that's the report that is being put out by CNBC. So we've given you an assessment of how different media organizations in the United States are looking at looming fears of a recession. Let's in fact also discuss this with our economist. Sanjay Gupta is joining us here. Mr. Gupta, thank you very much for joining us. What is your assessment of how the macro economic indicators are looking like as far as the world economy is concerned, and how resilient is Indian economy as of now?
Actually, you see, Indian economy has been performing exceedingly well as compared to the world economies over past few years. And the projections for FY27 are equally good. Even World Bank has improved India's rating and the growth forecast for the year. However, the Iran war is taking a toll on the growth story of both India and worldwide. You see the prices, though at present the crude prices are stable of around $100 to $116. They are not going up as predicted by many analysts. He said $200 will be a benchmark. But overall the prices are stable, but yet the prices are almost 55% up from the prevailing prices before the war. At that time, the prices were around $70 per barrel. This is going to create a cost push inflation worldwide, and India is also going to suffer from the cost push inflation because the cost of each raw material is going to be higher and higher every day, and going to affect the industries very badly in the coming days. You see, even the rupee is declining day by day. Yesterday there was the biggest fall in recent times of 91 paisa per dollar, and this is going to create a very, very difficult position for our country, considering the declining foreign reserves, and our import bill is going very, very big, considering that we are the biggest importers of the crude oils.
Right.
This is going to create a very bad situation in the coming days, unless and until the truce is announced or the Iran war is over.
Right. All right, Mr. Gupta, thank you very much for joining us and for speaking to us and helping us with the assessment of the markets and the global economy there. America Narayan, former Congress leader and spokesperson, is also joining me in the discussion here. Mr. Narayanan, thank you very much for joining us. Yes, you're not with the Congress anymore, but we've seen how Rahul Gandhi has reacted to the Prime Minister's appeal on adopting austerity measures. How do you react to what the Prime Minister has said and how the Congress party responded to it?
As you said, I am not a Congress spokesperson. I resigned from Congress.
Yes, former we said. All right, I believe we've lost that connection there. Viewers, moving ahead, DMK leader Udayanithi Stalin has now repeated his remark calling for the eradication of Sanatanam or Sanatan Dharma during an address in the Tamil Nadu Assembly in the presence of newly appointed Chief Minister Joseph Vijay. Udayanithi said Sanatanam, that divides people, should be eradicated. A clip of his remarks made in Tamil soon went viral, with people commenting on how the leader of opposition in Tamil Nadu repeated the claim in Vijay's presence.
திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்துடைய தலைமையில் தேர்தலை சந்திச்சு வென்ற தோழமை இயக்க சட்டமன்ற உறுப்பினருடைய ஆதரவோடு ஆட்சி அமைத்திருக்கக்கூடிய புதிய அரசிற்கும் மாண்பு முதலமைச்சர் அவர்களுக்கும் என்னுடைய வாழ்த்துக்களை நான் மீண்டும் தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன். மாண்புமிகு பேரவைத் தலைவர் அவர்களுக்கும் பேரவை துணைத் தலைவர் அவர்களுக்கும் என்னுடைய நன்றி. உங்களுடைய பணிகள் சிறக்கட்டும். மீண்டும் என்னுடைய வாழ்த்துக்களை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம். வெல்க தமிழ், வாழ்க தமிழ்நாடு. மக்களை பிரிக்கும் சனாதானம் நிச்சயம் ஒழிக்கப்பட வேண்டும். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has said that Malaysia and Tamil Nadu share deep cultural and historical ties. He also congratulated the newly elected Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Vijay, marking a diplomatic gesture towards the new state leadership. The remarks highlight strengthening people-to-people and political engagement between Malaysia and Tamil Nadu. Let's go across to my colleague Rumi from the newsroom.
Yes, Kriti. Well, Udyanidhi Stalin has made another controversial remark, repeating himself once he called for the eradication of Sanatan Dharma during an address in the Tamil Nadu Assembly in the presence of newly appointed Chief Minister C. Joseph Vijay. Udyanidhi said that Sanatan, that divides people, should be eradicated. A clip of his remarks made in Tamil soon went viral, as we just played it out on our screens as well. People commented on how the leader of opposition in Tamil Nadu repeated the claim in Vijay's presence, in the Chief Minister's presence. In fact, BJP CR Kesavan reportedly reacted to Udyanidhi's remark and criticized it as a toxic rant. These repeat offenders, according to the BJP spokesperson, need to be kept in mind that the state emblem of Tamil Nadu has a temple gopuram, and the people of Tamil Nadu will not forget nor forgive such flagrant abuse or insult of their faith and sentiments. Kesavan also dragged Congress MP and leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, in this attack on the DMK leader, and said that Udyanidhi Stalin is the Rahul Gandhi of Tamil Nadu, peddling divisive hate politics. Rahul Gandhi was also mocked over the fact that he used to talk about the sacred Sengul, and he insulted and boycotted the Pran Pratishtha ceremony of Ram Mandir. In fact, the BJP spokesperson brought that to light and said that he's just like Udyanidhi Stalin, as Rahul Gandhi, who has been rejected for the past 3 Lok Sabha elections. Udyanidhi Stalin, despite being punished and ousted by the Tamil people, continues with his toxic rant. This, of course, comes in light of Stalin's latest remark on Sanatan of almost 3 years after a similar statement that he made triggered a huge political storm in Tamil Nadu, in fact in rest of India as well. He said that Sanatana was against the idea of social justice and had to be eradicated. I'll quote out what Udyanidhi Stalin said back then. He said that a few things cannot be opposed that should be abolished only. He also said that we cannot oppose dengue, mosquitoes, malaria or corona. We've had to eradicate them, and that's how we need to also eradicate Sanatan Dharma. So comparing a religion with diseases like dengue, malaria and COVID, Udyanidhi Stalin made a very controversial remark back then, and now he's back at it again. He's again reigniting this political row in Tamil Nadu, especially after giving that statement in the state assembly in front of Vijay, who's the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. Yes, Kriti.
Right. In fact, let's also go across to political analyst KV Lakshman, who's now joining us on this. Mr. Lakshman, what is your assessment of the remarks that have come in from Udyanidhi? Not the first time that he's saying that, but this time making a distinction between Sanatana and Sanatanam.
See, knowing DMK, given the fact that it has lost out, it has to make its opposition much more sharper to the BJP. Even if you see, even Vijay, although he is, was not in that fashion much, but he's ideologically he says his enemy is BJP. So in Tamil Nadu, people do tend to favor any party that speaks against the BJP. And in this case, whatever the religious tones and intonations that DMK may be using to criticize BJP, because it is a party which is considered to be espousing the cause of the Hindus. So it is very clear that this is going to sharpen much more in the future, because AIDMK will be on the wane, because it is 4 times it has lost elections, so it is clearly on the decline. So DMK, for its own survival, will have to be attacking the BJP much more, whether it means or not, but it has to be seen as opposing it. which will give it some political purchase in Tamil Nadu.
All right, Mr. Lakshman, do you think this is going to invite now a reaction from Vijay?
Vijay is sensible, smart, and he's just come in. He's going to keep a studied silence on all these things. Whatever he had to say, he has already done and said. He's getting lot of support on a platter without even asking. About 30 MLAs from AIDMK. There is a chance that they may just abstain or break from AIDMK ranks. But he's on his own, he's remaining silent. He's not. And with BJP, he knows that with the center, he has to have a semblance of good relations. So I don't think even his political advisors will be advising him doing anything against BJP at the moment. To the extent possible, he's going to maintain cordial relations with both BJP and the central government, more so central government than the BJP in that sense. But yes, he will like to be seen as a person who is maintains his distance from BJP in every which way.
All right, Mr. Lakshman, thank you very much for joining us. For now, we'll watch out how developments shape up and what responses emerge on the latest statement from Udayanidhi. As of now, viewers, Udayanidhi has once again repeated his remark of calling for the eradication of Sanatan Dharma while speaking in assembly in the presence of Chief Minister Vijay. Those are the visuals, in fact, from the session when the remark was made by Udayanidhi, who is the leader of opposition there. Sanatanam that divides people should be eradicated is what he said. A clip of that remark has in fact gone viral, and people are commenting on how Udayanidhi was able to repeat the claim in the presence of Vijay, who sprung to power from a party which made a promise of being secular. And now, viewers, moving ahead to news from Kerala, where Congress leader Muralidharan has spoken on the Kerala government formation. He has stated that the final decision on who the chief minister will be made this evening or tomorrow morning. Congress leader K. Muralidharan has spoken on the government formation and says the decision will be finalized by evening today or morning tomorrow.
Only Rahulji was present there. I think the final decision will come today evening or tomorrow morning. So Khargeji is coming back only in the evening. So after he's come back, one more discussion will be with them. And they will talk to the madam also. Then decision will come either today night or tomorrow morning. That I expressed my opinion to Rahulji and the other observers. I will not tell in the outside.
My colleague Raj Kiran is joining me on this. Raj Kiran, it's already more than a week after the results were announced, and Congress has taken rather long to finalize on a chief ministerial candidate, a face who's going to head the government in Kerala. And now, what is it that you're picking up on who most likely this is going to be?
Yes, it's been more than 1 week that still the decision of the CM phase for Kerala has not been finalized, right? However, there are two people who are, mainly the two contestants were seen. One is K.C. Venugopal and another one is Satishan. So these two people, in these two, one of them will be the Chief Minister of Kerala. But however, as we have seen from last 2 to 3 days, continuous meetings were held. Rahul Gandhi, Mallikarjun Kharge, even also Sonia Gandhi was also spoke to the Kerala on debate, went on speaking to A.K. Anthony. Sonia Gandhi also spoke to A.K. Anthony over the phone, and the decision will be likely to come today evening or else tomorrow morning. As you heard that Muralidharan, the Congress senior leader, said that the Chief Minister phase will be held, phase will be announced today evening or tomorrow morning. As Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge is not available in the Delhi, so today evening the meeting will be held in Delhi. One last meeting will be held. After that, the CM phase, the CM candidate will be announced today evening or else tomorrow in the afternoon. Till afternoon, the things will be cleared.
Right. Thanks, Rajkiran, for bringing us that information. For now, viewers, in fact, we're also now getting in another breaking news update. The Israeli Air Force is carrying out a precision strike in Lebanon after detecting a hostile launch cell firing toward Israeli forces. According to reports, the unit attempted to relocate a missile launcher using a truck immediately after the attack. Division 91 identifies and guides the target, enabling the successful strike. Let's go across to Aditya, my colleague there. Aditya, another Israeli strike in Lebanon, 91 targets identified. What are these locations and what has the impact so far of these strikes been?
The Israeli forces are conducting precision strikes deep inside the territory of Lebanon on several locations of the Hezbollah hotspots, and definitely, since this, ceasefire has come into effect, there has been no, even after the ceasefire has come into effect, there has been no cessation of hostilities, and time and again, the Israeli defense forces, the Israeli Air Force have been conducting strikes on several locations in and around Lebanon, and definitely the Hezbollah have also been, definitely hitting, the Israeli, several positions of the Israeli defense forces through drones. So definitely, we could expect a further escalation in the Middle East and between the Israel and Lebanon in the days to come. Kriti.
Right, stay on with me, Aditya. In fact, I'm getting in some more updates from the UAE as well, which has carried out covert strikes on Iranian targets despite maintaining an official stance of neutrality. One alleged target was an oil refinery on Iran's Lavan Island, where a major fire broke out and operations were disrupted for months. The report further claims Iran later responded with missile and drone strikes targeting the UAE. Aditya, this is the first of a kind report that we have with UAE now carrying out covert strikes on Iranian targets. What more do we know about how UAE has responded?
This is a very, very significant development, Kriti. UAE has carried out this covert operation against one of the Iranian oil facility, and definitely, this is further, this will accentuate the situation in the Middle East. So already we are grappling with the increasing prices of oil and gas, and this particularly will disrupt the global oil and gas markets, and definitely in the times to come, we could expect a further escalation in this regard. Priti.
Right, Aditya, for now, thank you very much for joining me and for sharing those updates. Viewers, that's all I have time for. We'll be right back after a quick break.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के मार्गदर्शन और मुख्यमंत्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी के कुशल नेतृत्व में आत्मनिर्भर हो रहे हैं किसान और बन रही है उन्नत और जैविक प्रदेश की पहचान। सरकार की कल्याणकारी योजनाओं से प्रदेश भर में किसान परंपरागत कृषि की ओर लौटे हैं और साथ में लौटी है आय में बढ़ोतरी और उत्पादों में पौष्टिकता। परंपरागत कृषि विकास योजना और नमामि गंगे योजना के अंतर्गत 300 से ज्यादा जैविक आउटलेट स्थापित किए गए हैं। प्रदेश भर में 4000 से ज्यादा जैविक क्लस्टर संचालित किए जा रहे हैं, जो करीब 2.5 लाख हेक्टेयर भूमि पर 100% जैविक कृषि कर रहे हैं। लघु, सीमांत और महिला किसानों तक कृषि यंत्रों की पहुंच बढ़ाने हेतु पर्वतीय क्षेत्रों में 3400 से ज्यादा फार्म मशीनरी बैंक और मैदानी क्षेत्रों में 313 कस्टम हायरिंग सेंटर स्थापित किए जा चुके हैं। नेशनल मिशन ऑन नेचुरल फार्मिंग के तहत प्रदेश के 11 जनपदों के 10,000 हेक्टेयर क्षेत्र में 200 नए क्लस्टर बनाए जा रहे हैं। उत्तराखंड में मौसम आधारित फसल बीमा योजना के तहत किसान दिवस पर 88,000 किसानों के खाते में 65 करोड़ रुपए का मुआवजा प्रदान किया गया है। किसानों को आत्मनिर्भर और स्वावलंबी बनाने के लिए पीएम किसान सम्मान निधि योजना के अंतर्गत करीब 8 लाख किसानों को 162 करोड़ रुपए डीबीटी के माध्यम से प्रदान किए गए हैं। विकसित कृषि संकल्प अभियान के तहत कृषि को लाभकारी, टिकाऊ और जलवायु अनुकूल बनाने पर जोर दिया जा रहा है। उत्तराखंड में सरकार के अथक प्रयास से तय हो रहे हैं नए आयाम, मिल रहा है सम्मान और आत्मनिर्भर हुए हैं किसान।
हमें पता है चमकी चाट से क्या बना है
सैंडविच, लस्सी और छाछ और
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े, चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े
और चाट पपड़ी दही बल्ले,
चमकी चाट से बल्ले बल्ले,
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
नए भारत का नया उत्तर प्रदेश पूरे देश में कनेक्टिविटी के क्षेत्र में रोल मॉडल बन गया है। विगत 9 वर्षों में रोड कनेक्टिविटी से लेकर एयर कनेक्टिविटी और मेट्रो से लेकर रेल कनेक्टिविटी में यूपी नंबर 1 है। प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी के मार्गदर्शन और माननीय मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ के सतत प्रयासों से उत्तर प्रदेश विगत 9 वर्षों में सर्वाधिक एक्सप्रेस वे वाला प्रदेश बन गया है। सर्वाधिक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय एवं घरेलू एयरपोर्ट्स के साथ उड्डयन प्रदेश बन गया है। सर्वाधिक शहरों में मेट्रो यहाँ दौड़ती है। रैपिड रेल पहली बार यूपी में ही चली है। पहला इनलैंड वाटरवे वाराणसी से हल्दिया को जोड़ता है। स्वर्णिम संभावनाओं के खुले द्वार, समृद्धि की डबल इंजन रफ्तार।
सिप सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा जीरा सिप जीरा सिप जीरा सिप प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाए जीरा सिप MDH का जलजीरा जीरा सिप।
जीरा सिप असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MDH।
Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on Newsx. President Donald Trump's second-term policies are fueling recession fears worldwide, according to economists in the IMF. Since January 2025, sweeping tariffs, including a 10% baseline on most imports and much higher rates on China, have raised U.S. consumer costs by $1,200 to $3,800 per household annually, slowed GDP growth by up to 1 percentage point, and triggered global trade retaliation. Immigration crackdowns and federal job cuts have also further tightened labor markets and reduced demand. Compounding this, Trump's decision to join Israel in military action against Iran in late February 2026 has unleashed a major energy crisis. Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz has disrupted roughly 20% of global oil flows, driving prices above $100 a barrel. The IMF warns its war has halted prior growth momentum. Global GDP growth is now forecast at just 3.1% for 2026, with adverse scenarios plunging to 2% or lower, signaling a potential worldwide recession. Inflation is rising, hitting emerging markets and Europe especially hard. The combined shocks of tariffs and the West Asia conflict are darkening outlooks globally, raising stagflation risks and uncertainty. Experts all around the world are predicting a recession. Let's take a look at some of them and what they are saying. So what is the analysis? Well, let's quickly explain to you. This is what CNN is reporting on Trump's actions reportedly causing recession. How the Middle East war could spark a recession is what this piece clearly says. If Americans cut back on shopping, traveling and going out to eat, businesses would be forced to lay off workers, causing consumers to cut back further. That can become a doom loop that ends in recession. Meanwhile, Harvard Business Review has this to say. Will the Iran war deliver a long-predicted U.S. recession? Though the prices of oil reliably grab headlines, it's the duration of price moves, not the level, that matters more. Oil at $300 for a few days would be far preferable to oil at $150 for several months. For the macroeconomy, the duration of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz will remain more important than the question of Iran's political stability. So that's what HBS has to say on this big question of whether these actions are causing recession or not. Meanwhile, what is Forbes saying? Forbes says this: recession shock. Polymarket bettors wager $1.3 million on US downturn. Prediction market strategist Rex Spector laid out the chain on X, saying higher oil, higher inflation, higher rates, lower growth. That combination pushes recession probability towards about 30%. Meanwhile, let's take you through the Motley Fool. The Motley Fool has this to say: will the stock market crash under President Trump in 2026? Question mark. Historical data offers a grim answer for investors. So big question and of course fact that they are trying to pose there in this piece, saying, however, the economic fallout from President Trump's tariffs coupled with high valuations and midterm elections could cause the stock market to decline sharply or even crash in the year 2026. Meanwhile, what does BBC have to say? Well, how tariff disruption will continue reshaping the global economies in 2026 is what they're asking as well, saying he thinks tariffs have added between 0.3% and 0.5% to US inflation, which in November was 2.7%. But we probably haven't seen the full impact yet. That matters given the US economy is driven by consumer spending and that it accounts for 26% of the global economy, according to the IMF. Meanwhile, Politico has this to say: what is he doing? New threats emerge for Trump economy as war drags on. New economic reports show inflation is ticking higher, prompting the Federal Reserve on Wednesday to keep interest rates steady. Hiring has stagnated, wage growth has fallen, and market-based interest rates are climbing amidst concern over rising prices, sending mortgage rates up, and with oil now topping $100 a barrel, with no end in sight for the Iran conflict. So this is, of course, what various publications have to say on this possible recession analysis, which, remember, is now getting only louder with each passing day. Well, President Trump's second term in office, policies are fueling these recession fears worldwide, according to economists in the IMF. Since January 2025, we've, of course, told you about those sweeping tariffs, including the 10% baseline on most imports and much higher rates on China. These have raised US consumer costs by $1,200 to $3,800 a household annually. It slowed down GDP growth by up to 1 percentage point. It's also triggered global trade retaliation. Okay, well, in fact, let's also now open this up if we can. Let's quickly open this up to our guests. Joining us live at this point is Raymond Vickery, former US Assistant Secretary of Commerce. Raymond Vickery, thanks for being with us today on Newsx. This analysis is just growing louder. It's, of course, happening in the United States where you are, Mr. Vickery, but also globally. Is the US headed towards a recession, and will this then affect the global economy too? Is a downturn in course, whether or not this war ends tomorrow?
Well, thanks very much for having me and allowing me to comment on this. Yes, it's perfectly foreseeable.
Raymond Vickery, are you being able to hear me? Okay, yes.
Yes, can you
Please
hear
go
me
ahead.
now? Yes, I think this is all perfectly foreseeable. Economics and security matters are joined at the hip. You cannot go forward with a war which stops traffic in the Straits of Hormuz and expect economy to continue to prosper. Likewise, you can't cut off with tariffs the international trade system, which we've had growing over the last 80 years and expect there not to be very great strains in security. These things having been said, it is perfectly apparent on the tariff side that this was all foreseeable. The United States had tried previously during the Great Depression with Smoot-Hawley tariffs to wall itself off and create a Fortress America economy. That didn't work then, and it hasn't worked now. The whole concept of these Independence Day liberation tariffs, which were imposed by the Trump administration, is an absolutely false reading, not only of history, but of economic theory. It is not the case that a trade deficit is something like a balance sheet that President Trump may have been familiar with as a real estate developer. You don't solve that by going in and imposing tariffs. So this was all foreseeable, and it's hitting here, of course, as people go to the grocery store, as they pay for rent, as they pay for health care costs. All of those things are going up. And as you point out, America is so strong in terms of the economy that the ripple effect is going across the world. And it should be a message, not only in the United States, but in India and other places, that this idea that you just simply make in India and you have a fortress there and you don't need the rest of the world is just as false in South Asia as it is in North America. So we've been set back tremendously, not only domestically here in the United States, but across the world. And as I said earlier, the economic and strategic matters are joined at the hip. You cannot have peace without prosperity, generally speaking, and you're not going to have prosperity without peace. So it is time for the other great democracies of the world, particularly in India and in Western Europe, Japan, Brazil, to join together to try to get us back into some sort of semblance of a rules-based approach to international trade. You don't just impose tariffs and say it's my way or the highway. Unfortunately, President Trump, with his transactional reality TV approach to governing, is not going to be reined in. And it's going to be up to the rest of the world, plus the United States in the midterms, to be able to do something about this.
Okay. Let me, in fact, quickly get in Madhav Nalapath, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, at that point as well. Professor Nalapath, is the US now headed towards a recession? It's not just the war, it's what we've seen preceding it as well. The arbitrary tariffs, the trade war that has erupted, of course, across the world, and now the war and its direct impact on oil prices, inflation, and global stock market turmoil. Is this the lead up to a possible recession in the US, or is it too early to say?
Uday, I'd like to point out that the Iranian clerical regime has its position has been constant right from the beginning of a war that has lasted, I would say, now 2 months running. It has been absolutely consistent in what it wants. First of all, it wants the right to keep its processed uranium for itself and not hand it over to anybody else. There's a suggestion that if it's not handed over to the United States, can you hand it to Russia? Iran says no. Secondly, enrichment. They insist on the right for enriching that uranium. And may I point out that experts say that uranium is very near weapons grade material, very close to being weapons grade material. The second point they have said is that they should be, in a sense, immunity from attack, that no further attack should be made on Iran or any of its facilities, including the nuclear facilities at Fordow, Natanz, and other locations. So essentially what they're saying is that now we'll do what we like, but you stay out of it and you don't do anything to us, at least the United States. And where does that leave Israel? It leaves Israel out on a limb. The third point they're making, which is very, very contentious, is that they have the sovereignty of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the Strait of Hormuz, I mean, is not Iranian, like the Indian Ocean is not Indian, or South China Sea is not Chinese. The fact is that if Iran were to be granted sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, then what happens to Oman? What happens to UAE? What happens to Saudi Arabia? What happens to Bahrain? What happens to Qatar? What happens to all these countries? And you know, I mean, Iran will reserve itself the right. It's like the stopper of a bottle, water bottle. You take the stopper off, the water will flow. You put the stopper back, the water stops flowing. So Iran says we must have the stopper in our hands. And the water is the oil of all these countries. And Iran will have complete control over that oil. And I mean, frankly, I'd like to say that none of these conditions are acceptable at all. None of them is acceptable at all. And lastly, may I conclude by saying the Iranian clerical regime, now you've got Mujtaba Khamenei as supreme leader. The IRGC is basically functioning under a supreme leader. And the supreme leader has completely been silent on the issue of nuclear weapons. Both his predecessors, including his late father, said that nuclear weapons are haram. In other words, they should not be made.
Yes.
Mr. Mujtaba Khamenei, supreme leader of Iran now, has kept completely silent of whether it's haram or not, therefore leaving open the possibility that he is entirely in favor of a nuclear deterrent. Of course, looking at the example of Saddam Hussein, example of Muammar Gaddafi, and what happened to them, and soon after they gave up the WMD, looking at the example of North Korea, where Supreme Leader Kim has made it very plain that Korea is going to continue, North Korea is going to continue to be a nuclear weapon state. And more importantly, we are giving up any idea of unification for the South. No unification with the South Korea, only North Korea. So my point is, for once I have to agree with Donald Trump, this is absolutely impermissible. If the clerical regime were to get control of the Strait of Hormuz, get control over the nuclear industry it has in Fordow, Natanz, and all that, and have the right to reprocessing, and have the right to complete protection from any attack, then I would say not just Israel,
yes,
all the countries around Iran,
yes,
that will be in danger.
Yes.
And you're doing absolutely nothing.
Absolute,
to protect the
absolute.
right of
And you know,
this country.
what
nothing
we are
at
seeing.
all.
Yes,
If you agree.
Yes, absolutely. And what we are seeing, of course, Mithali, is not just the US. Not just the US face this imminent risk of recession, but the world. There is this global, slowdown in economic growth, as we are already seeing. Is this, and in a world now which is very globalized and interconnected as never before, obviously what happens in one country, particularly the US, will affect the rest of the world. So is it not just a US recession, as some analysts are saying, but a worldwide slowdown that we're looking at?
Absolutely, Uday. And in fact, there are so many analytical pieces that have traced, the current slowdown that we're seeing across the world to the actions of April 2025. Let's not forget that President Trump imposed illegal tariffs on the entire world in one stroke on 2nd of April 2025. That was the first step. It was sort of the domino effect, and then everything started happening from there, because we started seeing the retaliation first with China and the US engaged in the initial months of the trade war, and then China actually came out looking quite strong out of that period. And then we saw saw that, the second set of tariffs came in, and India was in fact one of the countries that faced, inexplicable tariffs for buying Russian oil, apparently, which had actually been agreed to again in partnership with the Biden administration. And then after that, even after all of that, and a spate of trade deals that several global South countries and EU and the UK managed to cobble together to somehow hold the economy up, we have this war. And every single shock, it's shock after shock after shock, because it's a clear and meditated plan to re-engineer global value chains in order to suit not the United States, and I would want to make this very clear, not the United States, but President Trump and President Trump's own private enterprises, so that it can be done in such a manner, the procurement, the entire value chain systems can be re-engineered so that his companies benefit from all of this. And we're seeing it country after country. And we're seeing that today, as the refunds are starting, today the Supreme Court, of course, it held all the tariffs to be illegal, and the US government is having to make these refunds. American corporations like Walmart, like Tesco, like Apple are getting back. Someone is getting back $10 billion. Somebody's getting back $3 billion. But they are still being told that they have to reinvest this amount. Especially Apple has made an announcement that this $3 billion refund, which it's getting, it has to reinvest that back into the US economy. And even from the current blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, and even from the current rise in oil prices, American oil corporations are gaining far more than the rest of the world. So definitely, an attempt to re-engineer supply chains in a manner that the global South is actually the one that's holding the pieces together,
Yeah.
trying to cobble up, a safety net for the rest of their economies.
Absolutely. And I mentioned a host of issues earlier, Dr. Tina Sharma, if I can rope you in here, because, it's not just the tariffs, but also the federal job cuts, the immigration crackdown, the impact all of that has on labor. There have been a host of steps or missteps, as some say, have been taken. Are we already in that slowdown? Are we headed towards it? Dr. Tina Sharma, what is your take?
Can you just, I missed last two
I
lines.
said, is the US already in that slowdown, or is it coming?
See, absolutely. I mean, I agree with most of the panelists here. The concerns you're raising are exactly what we are seeing playing out in the data right now. And since it's mid 2026, the slowdown isn't just, it's not slowdown. It's visible shift in the labor landscape, basically. I mean, as per my understanding, and many of the missteps you mentioned have created a perfect storm of supply and demand friction. Here's a state of union on those specific pressures, which I feel that immigration hard stop is one of the factor which we cannot deny, and job cards, of course. Immigration crackdown you mentioned has been primarily driver of economists are calling a net negative migration, which is difficult for us to sustain in the market and sustain in the US economy that way. And federal job card friction is already there, and that is basically hampering our people there. And we've seen that in last 2 years, precisely in last 1 year, which we've gone through, and we've seen that Indian people are suffering there, and we had to just get back them here. And we know the crisis as well, and we knew it when this economy shift started, when this war started, and when this economy shift started. So now it's a negative migration year for us. For the first time in over 50 years, probably, we've seen periods where more people are leaving the labor pool than entering it. So that's quite a concern for us. And federal job card friction is another issue which I have already mentioned. And labor supply shock is I'm pointing out in pointers so that people, I mean, we understand that where are we lacking. I'm not going para-wise so that we can talk about everything here. So now labor supply shock is net migration dropped by 2.7 million in 2024. That's what his data says, and nearly zero by early 2026. So this has created a low hire, low fire system, and where companies want to hire but simply can't find the bodies, leading to ghost shifts and reduced service hours. So this is major crisis which we'll be facing for next 20 years if this goes like this, you know. And then tariff double whammy. So tariff double whammy is again a kind of bubble which I feel that, you know, Trump has created, and we need to. I mean, we don't have ways to fight with such things, because it is my way or highway. Somebody, I think Mr. Vikri has said it, my way or highway, and I completely agree with it. Tariffs are often discussed as a trade issue, but their impact on labor is indirect and painful, and that we should all know. We should know that, you know, it's absolutely painful for the labor. Cost push inflation, which is, you know, it was Q1 2026 was a manufacturing boom, higher input cost, steel, products like steel, electronics have led to the sector shedding nearly 70,000 jobs over the last year. It's hard to expand the factory when the parts and the people both cost 20% and more. So I think we are in slowdown, that we all know. And bad news is, yes, we are. It's lumpy. We saw negative job growth in December 2025, November and December both, in fact. I mean, and again in February 2026, losing over 90,000 jobs, approximate 1 lakh jobs, which is sad, which is actually disheartening for a country like India. And unemployment has ticked up around. I think the percentage would be around 4% or 5%. That should be, and resilience factor is another factor where I feel that, you know, curiously, business investment rose in early 2026. Prime age women labor participation hit an all-time high of 78.5% in March, which I think it's approximate 80% now.
Okay.
And I feel that, you know, it's something, it suggests that while the new labor immigrants has been cut off, the existing labor is working harder than ever.
Absolutely. But, you know, and there's also been this entire, you know, US-China trade war as well, which has had its impact. You know, costs in the US have gone up for domestic consumers there, which have fueled inflation. But could all of that change, Professor Nalapat? Could all of that change? Because the US president is in China this week. What are we expecting, and what is going to be the economic impact of that visit as well? Professor Nalapat.
Trump is going to China in about a few days' time. And what Xi Jinping wants is, supposing he blinks on Iran, then he may blink on Taiwan. And we're talking about computers here. The previous speaker, very learned speaker, was talking about computers, about electronics. All of this depend on computer chips. And which is the largest maker of computer chips in the world? Which country? A small country called Taiwan. So today you blink on Iran, how will the Taiwanese feel? And they may feel that you may blink on Taiwan as well. And certainly Xi Jinping is going to press the question of Taiwan and try to get some statement from Trump that the US is not committed to a complete defense of Taiwan, and should, I mean, he make a mistake in that and invade Taiwan. I mean, I can't believe the US will not stand by Taiwan. But supposing Xi Jinping says no, Taiwan is ours. There can be no compromise in that. Like the IRGC is now saying, the Strait of Hormuz belongs to us. There can be no compromise on that. Then where does the slippery slope end? That's why I'm saying, hold the line. Hold the line on the IRGC. Don't say Iran. It's the IRGC, and they don't represent the noble people of Iran. And the same way, the Taiwanese, stand by them. And if we don't stand by them, the Chinese are going to control all these electronic goods that our experts have been talking about. Thank you, Uday, for giving me this opportunity.
Yes. Raymond Vikri, your anticipation of that visit, and also what is going to be the impact of these spiraling costs in the US, this economic downturn on India? Do you see the effects also on India? As I said earlier, in this globalized world and interconnected world, no country can avoid impact and fallouts of what's happening elsewhere in the world, can they?
Well, I think that there certainly will be an impact worldwide. As Secretary Albright used to say, the United States is, for better or for worse, the indispensable nation, and that's true economically as well as in security. That's maybe considered bad news in some aspects, but it's good news in the other aspect. The economy here underlying is so strong that if you can get back to basics, to go back to a World Trade Organization and a rules-based approach to international trade, if you can have immigration policies which are sensible rather than designed to appeal to Make America Great Again base, this economy will thrive. What has to happen, it seems to me, is that the rest of the world cannot fall into the trap of a transactional bilateral approach, which is that of this administration. I believe that the result in China is going to be that China is not going to be willing to make a deal just willy-nilly, as India has not been willing to do that. And I think these are steps in the right direction. But what we have to do is to get back to a multilateral approach rather than this bilateral, transactional, one guy wins, one guy loses approach, which is that of the Trump administration. Here in the United States, it's interesting in terms of whether or not there's a technical recession, because what is happening is that the economy is being bifurcated. There is an economy based upon a stock market valuation, which is doing quite well. But the rest of the economy is not doing so well. And we have to have a correction which enables people to go forward for peace and prosperity across the board and across the world.
All right, my thanks to our guests for joining us. We've run out of time. We're going to slip into a very short break at this juncture. Much more coming up on the other side on Newsx. Stay tuned.
आज का भारत
Hello and a very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching Newsx. I'm Kriti Mehta. We'll start with a check of the top headlines this hour. Congress is likely to announce the chief ministerial phase for Keralam tomorrow. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi and Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge meet a formal Congress presidents to finalize the decision. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma takes oath today for the second time. Prime Minister Modi, US Ambassador Sergio Gore attend the ceremony. West Bengal Chief Electoral Officer Manoj Kumar Agarwal has been appointed the Chief Secretary of West Bengal. Decision comes as Suvendu Adhikari allotted portfolios among the 5 ministers who took oath with him. Nashik TCS religious conversion case accused Nida Khan has been sent to judicial custody for 14 days. Officials confirm questioning is underway. Shocking news emerges from the national capital. 2 women allege a racially charged assault by 7 men outside the Nehru Place Club. Police register FIR after recovering CCTV. Punjab's Aam Aadmi Party government reallots portfolios previously held by Minister Sanjeev Arora after his arrest. Portfolio distributed among Aman Arora, Harjot Singh Bens and Tarunpreet Sood. American passengers evacuated from the hantavirus-hit cruise ship MV Hondius after arriving in Omaha, Nebraska for specialized quarantine and medical monitoring. US media reports Pakistan allowed Iran to park military aircraft, including the RC-130, on its airfields, despite mediator role in conflict with the US, potentially shielding them from American airstrikes. And our focus this hour remains on Tamil Nadu politics. AIDMK senior leaders and MLAs, CV Shanmugan, SP Velumani and other supporting MLAs have now arrived at AIADMK founder MG Ramachandran Memorial at Marina Beach after meeting Tamil Nadu Assembly Speaker JCD Prabhakaran. Remember, Shanmugan, some other leaders from the AIADMK are planning a split to support TVK. Let's go across to my colleague Belly Thomas, who's reporting on this and tracking all the latest developments. Belly, what kind of movements are being reported as of now from the AIADMK camp, and how many MLAs are in this Shanmugam camp? Belly, if you can hear me, talk to us about how many MLAs are there currently with Shanmugam in his camp, and what kind of movements are being reported there? All right, viewers, some connection errors there that we are trying to fix. But remember, Shanmugam with some other leaders from the AIADMK are planning to support Vijay's TVK. Belly, can you hear me now?
Yes, Kriti.
Belly, please do talk to us about how many MLAs are there that are currently with Shanmugam planning to leave the AIADMK for the TVK, and what kind of movements are there being reported?
Kriti, like I was earlier reporting that from the AIADMK, about 2/3 of the majority of AIADM MLAs are kind of inclined towards showing support towards Tamizhaga Vetri Kazhagam, and that was the only reason why Edappadi Palaniswamy had taken all of them, the total of around 47 MLAs in different resorts at Puducherry for a period of from the counting date, that is May 4th until May 13th, they were like politically confined is what we could say. And we were also reporting that there were two factions. One, the faction of CV Shanmugam, which has a lot of the majority of the MLAs who were kind of trying to break away from the parent AIADMK organization and show support to the Tamizhaga Vetri Kazhagam. But that was not allowed, stating with Edappadi Palaniswamy stating that we'll have to remain united and we'll have to be with patience at this time. Are the two things that Palaniswamy had publicly told everyone. That was the reason why AIADMK MLAs are kept in a political confinement. But now, today, after the assembly of the Tamil Nadu had started, now AIADMK had announced that they are going to openly support TVK breaking away from the Edappadi Palaniswamy faction. And CV Shanmugam says that more than 20 to 22 MLAs are supporting his decision of supporting the Tamizhaga Vetri Kazhagam.
Okay, so what does that bring down the strength of the original party, given that 47 were elected? You're saying 20 to 25 are going with Shanmugam to support Vijay. That effectively means about 27 only remain with Palaniswamy.
You cannot say that also, because there is another faction which comes under SP Velumani, who is a senior AIADMK leader in Coimbatore, Kriti. So what he is also trying to say is that his faction is also kind of trying to go along with the CV Shanmugam faction, and both these put together would obviously cross 2/3 of the majority what Edapadi Palaniswamy has as 47 MLAs. So the other faction has not openly come out to say that they are supporting Tamil Vetri Kazhagam, but C.V. Shanmugam has today openly announced that his faction will certainly support the Tamil Vetri Kazhagam. Kriti.
Right. He stated that no other party has his support except TVK. Remember, he earlier stated that he will stand united with the ADMK to protect the party and analyze the reasons of its defeat. Let's listen in.
No more question. We are not alliance with any party except TVK.
Okay, sir. What about
Leave, please, don't upset me. He is our general secretary. Please,
all right, Belly, that statement, of course, from Shanmugam. Firstly, please do translate it for us if anything significant has been told by him to reporters, and also if Palaniswamy has said anything in response so far.
Kriti, C.V. Shanmugam says that from day one he was very clear that his faction of MLAs wanted to support TVK, and that was a crucial time when Vijay was actively looking for support, and he had approached these left parties for support at that time, which were like, you know, small splitter parties which had only two seats, or not more than 4 or 5 seats is what you know, it's being stated now. So that was the time when the ADMK should have ideally given support to the TVK with full heart, and that was the spirit that C.V. Shanmugam has been expressing, and it is certainly a question of survival for the ADMK because the DMK faction, DMK outfit has decided that they will sit in the principal opposition, while they acknowledge that the TVK is the single largest majority party in Tamil Nadu, and they are definitely going to come into the power. You know, it is only a matter of time when they get the support, and that was a kind of a crucial time when AIDMK would have first placed their request instead of you know, politically confining all the MLAs at resorts in Puducherry, and which the C.V. Shanmugam was against, and S.P. Velumani was also against. So this is what he is trying to tell those reporters, that was a crucial amount of time that has gotten missed, and now when the assembly started, AIDMK has decided to lend their full support to the TVK, with taking credit of only his faction of MLAs, Kriti.
Right. Belly, stay on with me, in fact, reacting to Shanmugam's claims on ADMK siding with the TVK. ADMK MLA O.S. Manian has now stated that C.V. Shanmugam is making false claims to gain some attention. Let's listen into that as well.
சொல்லுகிற அதிகாரம் பொதுச்செயலாளருக்கு மட்டுமே, முடிவெடுக்கிற அதிகாரம் பொதுச்செயலாளருக்கு மட்டுமே. அதுதான் எங்களுடைய கட்சியினுடைய பைலா. ஆளுக்கால எல்லாம் ஒவ்வொருவரும் சொல்ல முடியாது. ஒரு நிமிஷம். அதாவது மந்திரியாக வேண்டும், பொறுப்பை கைப்பற்ற வேண்டும், அதிகார பதவிக்கு செல்ல வேண்டும் என்கிற ஆசை அவர் அந்த மாதிரி பேச வைக்கிறதே தவிர, புரட்சித் தலைவர் எம்ஜிஆருடைய கட்சியை, புரட்சித் தலைவர் அம்மா அவர்கள் வளர்த்தெடுத்த கட்சியை, எடப்பாடியார் அவர்களால் இன்றைக்கு சிறப்பாக நடத்தப்பட்டு வருகிற இந்த இயக்கத்தை தொண்டர்களுடைய எண்ணத்தோடு நிர்வாகிகளுடைய எண்ணத்தோடு பொதுச்செயலாளர் எடப்பாடியார் அவர்கள் முடிவெடுக்கிறார்கள், வழிநடத்துகிறார்கள்.
All right, Belly OS Mane, of course, remains delusional there because Shanmugam has come out and said that that is what he intended to do even before the elections. He's finally now headed with his demand. What is the next course of action for Shanmugam?
Kriti, what we got to know from that bite, what that leader said is what Shanmugam is the person who's not authorized to speak on behalf of the party, and he is kind of coming out with statements that is causing hindrance to the party. That's just because that he is expecting some kind of a ministerial berth, or ministerial post, or a cabinet berth is what is being discussed. So that is normal. That can happen with any party that is kind of rendering their support to the Tamil government. So now the further course of action would be tomorrow, which is crucial, Kriti. It is May 13th, and Vijay has to prove his majority on the floor test. And in that floor test, AIDMK has to position themselves as to they are kind of supporting Vijay without any conditions or without any expectations. So that kind of thing, if it happens, this would prove a kind of game saver for the AIDMK is what sources from the camp are telling us, Kriti.
All right, sure. Belly, stay on once again with us. We are also now picking up reactions from the DMK. TKS Ellen Govan has now slammed CV Shanmugam, stating that Palaniswamy and Shanmugam are ruining the name of the AIDMK by fighting publicly like this. All right, Belly, of course, DMK is also now reacting to the developments inside the AIDMK. How does this effectively benefit the DMK going ahead?
Kriti, DMK was clear on their stand, saying that they are definitely going to sit in the principal opposition's position, and they would certainly want TVK to form a government. So this was their stand from the first, and they were kind of sure about that stance. Meanwhile, AIDMK started sending feelers that they would want to ally with the DMK and kind of make TVK sit in position, and both AIDMK and DMK could go and form the government. So this feelers, when the DMK seniors got to know, they were kind of sure that that was not true, but there were feelers coming, indeed feelers coming from AIDMK, which they were not entertaining, and that made AIDMK an isolated party, and they still chose to remain in resorts in Puducherry all the while until the government was formed here in Chennai. All of the AIDMK MLAs remained in the resorts of Puducherry, and they wouldn't want to tell anything about lending their support or their obligations towards the to a newly formed government. Nothing was coming out, but now the assembly session has started. The AIDMK the elected representatives of AIDMK has come to attend the assembly, and that is where now CV Shanmugam has openly told that his particular faction was from the first day trying to support the Tamil terrorism, but they weren't allowed, and this is seen by the DA as a kind of a strategy that AIDMK, who wants to survive or looking for a survival in the Tamil Nadu politics, is using drama or kind of you can say an obligation that if they support, they would get something, which is which is being criticized by the DMK leaders now.
Right. Viewers, Congress leader Manikam Tagore has also taken a jibe at Shanmugam, stating that Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and TVK leader Vijay never asked for support from ADMK or the BJP. In a social media statement, Manikam Tagore stated, "We all know that TVK emerged as the single largest party in the present assembly with 107 seats, just 10 short of a majority, along with support from Congress with 5 MLAs and CPM, CPIM, IUML and VCK with 2 seats each. The secular front comfortably crossed the halfway mark." Tiruvijay approached only these 5 secular parties for support. Very big question, of course, then raises, even if Shanmugam goes and approaches TVK, will his support be accepted by the TVK allies?
Kriti, see, this is what we have been reporting from day one, that since these AIDMK MLAs were politically confined at resorts in Puducherry, there were news that TVK was in talks with AIDMK, AIDMK were in talks with TVK, but TVK has denied that they never ever approached AIDMK for support. From day one, they had been going around campaigning, saying that they would not join the DMK or they wouldn't join the BJP. Since AIDMK had allied with BJP, the TVK was sure that they wouldn't consider AIDMK at all. So leader Edappadi Palaniswamy was kind of the hunch that TVK leader Vijay would certainly approach him for a good majority, so that the governor wouldn't have any problem making him swear in, or to prove his majority on the floor test in the state assembly. So that was the kind of arrangement that the AIDMK leader Edappadi Palaniswamy was looking for, but that never happened because Vijay never approached the AIDMK at all. Even if there were media reports stating that there were feelers sent from both the sides, saying that what is your position, what is TVK's position, and all those things. TVK was clear that they wouldn't want to do a merger with the AIDMK. So, having said that, now it's a question of survival for AIDMK, and there were factions that were ready to cut off from the parent organization AIDMK, and now they have come out openly at the state assembly saying that they would certainly support for the Tamil Nadu government.
All right, Belly. Once again, stay on for one last time. Because now DMK leader P. Wilson has also said that only the pro-BJP faction in ADMK and not true ADMK leaders are breaking the party, and is also expressing support for the TVK. Finally, Belly, any word that has come in from the BJP in Tamil Nadu?
Kriti, there has been no words from the BJP as of now. They are straight looking at the TVK, who has already formed the government, and they would. The floor test is going to happen tomorrow. What they say is that there is a lot of drama that's happening with the AIDMK, where leaders they have difference of opinion, and some of them are looking for cabinet berths or ministerial berths in the Tamil Nadu, which has emerged as the single largest party in Tamil Nadu. So that is the reason why the MLAs, the elected representatives, are kind of breaking away, and even the seniors, for that matter, are reacting like that. The BJP has no say on this, but they certainly are kind of annoyed when AIDMK leaders like CV Shanmugam and SP Velumani is reacting like this when they are in an ongoing alliance here in the state.
Yes, Belly, thank you very much for joining us on that. And viewers, Tamil Nadu's political landscape has witnessed a historic shift, with actor turned Vijay and his party, Tamilaga Vetri Kalagam, taking charge, ending decades of Dravidian duopoly. With TVK emerging as the single largest party and getting 108 seats and forming a government in alliance support crossing the majority mark, let's take a look at what Vijay has done in his first assembly sitting. Alright viewers, let's take a look at what Vijay has done in the first cabinet. 717 Tasmak shops will now be shutting down. That's a big step in crackdown on Tasmak. Liquor outlets near schools are going to be targeted. So in a bold move, all those liquor shops of Tasmak that were placed near schools and educational institutions are going to be shutting down soon. Shops near temples will also close, and action is also taken on shops near bus terminals. All these liquor shops near schools, temples, bus terminals will possibly be closing down in Tamil Nadu. Second important decision that Vijay has taken is a free power scheme that has been announced. 200 units of free electricity will be provided. Big welfare push by the new government in announcement of this scheme, following from the model of Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi. Thirdly, there's a big crackdown also on drug abuse. Special task force has been announced and focus is on a drug-free Tamil Nadu. For that, a new special task force will be formed in the state under Vijay as the chief minister. There's also a push for women's security. Women protection force has also been planned. In addition, special safety measures have been promised for the safety of Tamil Nadu women. All right. These are the broader 4 measures that Vijay has announced: a crackdown on Tasmak shops, crackdown on drug abuse, measures for women's safety, along with the closing down of shops near schools, temples, and even bus terminals. Big push by Vijay, and there's also the announcement of a free electricity scheme where 200 units worth of free electricity has been announced in a big welfare push by Vijay's government to tackle drug abuse. A special task force has been announced. A special force has also been planned for the safety of women. As far as the Tasmak shops are concerned, 717 shops near schools, temples and bus terminals will be closed down. So those are the first big measures that Vijay has adopted or announced after coming to power as the chief minister of Tamil Nadu. Of course, implementation will need to be seen as of now. Political analyst Yamuna Pathak is also joining me on the discussion. Ms. Pathak, thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, Vijay has taken the first decisions, some of these announced by him in his manifesto as well. How easy or difficult will it be for him to implement on these announcements?
Yeah, good afternoon. Mostly, it's definitely a first big decision as the chief minister for Vijay in closing of these 717 liquor shops, which are the places of worship for schools, or which is mandatory. Which is this rule is there for a very long time, but the governments didn't have that kind of discipline to implement it. And today, this Vijay's decision to shut these things, probably it has signaled that his government intends to place public welfare above revenue dependence. So, of course, challenging the long-standing criticism also that successive governments treated these liquor sales as a fiscal necessity. I'm sure it's definitely a great move. It will be well appreciated by all corners, by all kind of segments of people, especially women, children, and a lot of other segments of society. But also, we need to also check how it's going to, it has its impact, because we've been seeing this particular corporation was mainly dependent on thousands of crores, which is basically, they were dependent on the liquor trade for ages together, for decades. So it's definitely, so it's a very good move. It's going to be also a big challenge for his government. So at the same time, he's also taking a calculated risk, because this being a major source of state income. And also, apart from that, we've also seen what kind of assurances Vijay has already pledged himself before the people of Tamil Nadu. The kind of incentives, the kind of promises he made to the women and to the youngsters, So, saw his intentions are very good, but he has got a great challenge to adhere in front of him.
Right, Ms. Pathak, thank you very much for joining us for now and speaking on that. And now moving ahead, viewers, Uttar Pradesh Higher Education Minister Yogendra Upadhyay has sparked a fresh debate after raising objections to certain English nursery rhymes taught in preschools, saying they may be affecting children's cultural values and moral developments. Speaking at a Shiksha Mitra felicitation event in Kanpur, Upadhyay specifically referred to widely known rhymes such as Johnny Johnny Yes Papa and Rain Rain Go Away. He argued that such songs, while seemingly harmless, may be sending unintended behavioral messages to young children. According to him, Johnny Johnny Yes Papa can be interpreted as normalizing dishonesty, while the interaction in the rhyme could be seen as subtly encouraging children to mislead elders. He also questioned the message conveyed through lines like "open your mouth, ha ha ha," suggesting it may not align with traditional values of respect towards parents and elders. Let's go across to my colleague Rumi, who's joining us on this. Rumi, it's a first of a kind observation that has been made by a leader, now UP minister, questioning the implicit meaning behind these nursery rhymes that children have been taught since decades.
Yes, Kriti, well, very well put right there. This higher education minister from Uttar Pradesh, Yogendra Upadhyay, has now triggered a controversy by describing two popular English nursery rhymes, Johnny Johnny Yes Papa and Rain Rain Go Away, as being against the Indian culture and values, saying that it teaches children to lie and promotes selfishness. This, of course, comes as, we already have seen all our children and ourselves as well reading such nursery rhymes, and he has said that these bring about behavioral changes in children, especially at a time when they're most impressionable. Addressing teachers at a Thanksgiving program at a prominent school in Lucknow on Saturday, he said that the rhyme Rain Rain Go Away promotes individual pleasure instead of collective welfare. He also stated, and I'm quoting him here, that self-interest is promoted in the poem Rain Rain Go Away, Come Again Another Day, and little Johnny wants to play. It says that the rain should stop only because Johnny wants to play. What kind of values are these? An act yields joy only when it's performed selflessly, transcending self-interest. But this poem signifies self-satisfaction, which is not our culture. He also stated that Indian culture emphasizes Sarvajan Hitaya Sarvajan Sukhaye, which basically means welfare for all, for the happiness of all, and that these poems should not be taught to young children, especially from India, because they do not fall in line with what our values stand for. He also stated that "open your mouth, ha ha ha" phrase from the Johnny Johnny Yes Papa rhyme is rather disrespectful to the parents, and a lie that the child Johnny has been caught with, and is teaching children to lie as well. Yes, over to you.
All right, Rumi, thank you very much for sharing additional details on that. And with that, viewers, it's time for a very quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी के मार्गदर्शन और मुख्यमंत्री पुष्कर सिंह धामी के कुशल नेतृत्व में आत्मनिर्भर हो रहे हैं किसान और बन रही है उन्नत।